Sleepy town settled for the night, where every lawn is tailored just right. And it's about time that the back porch light comes on. At that house down the street, at that house on Magnolia Street.
Oh, man. Yeah. Cool. Okay. Good talk. This is going to be a great episode.
Yeah. We're talking about inks today.
Ink today.
But, yeah. So, hey, witch, hey.
Hey, witch, hey.
I'm Justina.
I'm Christina.
Welcome to Magnolia Street, your one and only musically inspired practical magic fandom podcast.
Every week we deep dive on different aspects of the movie and the books, as well as treat your ears to our very own practical magic inspired original music.
So they say words have power, but what if the very ink you write them in could bend fate itself? From the first scratch of a quill across parchment to the final swirl in a grimoire's margin, ink has been more than just a tool. It's been a spell in liquid form. In Alice Hoffman's practical magic world, the Owens women know that ink is more than pigment. It's intention made visible. It's the difference between a recipe and a ritual.
And in Magic Lessons, actually in all 4 books, but in Magic Lessons, Maria Owens carries a satchel of potions, charms, and yes, inks. Some are for making talismans, others for inscribing words that cannot be erased. In Rules of Magic, letters are written with care, sealed messages, with more than wax, sealing them with will. Across the series, ink is a silent character, staining paper with warnings, love spells, and truths too dangerous to speak aloud.
And today we're diving into the history and the craft and the enchantment of magical inks, from the real-world recipes of dragon's blood, dove's blood, and iron gall to the fictional pages of the Owens family Book of Shadows. We'll explore how ink becomes a bridge between thought and reality, and why, in the world of practical magic, the right ink in the right hands can change everything. So sit back, relax, and grab your quill pen, because we're about to scribble our way into magical inks.
So today, before we start, we got some business to attend to in the social media sphere. I want to say a big thank you to our review crew. New Mom 2 gave us a comment over on our Apple podcast October 16th last year. Sorry, we never ever get reviews over there, so we don't always check. But they say 5 stars, love practical magic, apothecary, and conversations with these gals. Thank you. And it says, grew up with 90s witches.
5 stars. Wow.
5 stars. And we also have one from ESG, 5 stars. It says, I recently finished reading the whole Practical Magic series, and I was looking to create my own Book of Shadows when I came across this podcast. I started at the beginning, and I have loved listening to the Stinas and feeling like I'm in on all the jokes. I wanted to keep the Practical Magic series alive in a more practical way, and this podcast is perfect for my morning and afternoon commutes. I also love all of the lore added in each episode. Thank you for creating such a fun, nerdy, and witchy podcast. Thank you so much.
Yeah, we are pretty nerdy, huh?
We are.
We're a little nerdy.
We know a little about a lot.
Did you know I have a podcast? But I love that they started at the very beginning. Thanks for sitting through all of our bullshit.
Yeah, exactly. That's the only way you're going to know.
I know, and I'm glad that they're down with the Billy Zane jokes and they know what the fuck is going on. Because I'm sure if you start like here, you're going to be like, what? Why are you talking about Billy Zane on a Practical Magic podcast? Well, you got to start from episode 1. He comes in swinging.
He gets stronger and stronger and stronger each season for some reason.
And now he's a force that cannot be reckoned with. Right. Did you see that he just posted an Instagram story the other day? Like he was in Mystic Pizza. Is it called Mystic Pizza, Connecticut?
Mystic, Connecticut, yeah. But he was like, oh, Mystic Pizza, like behind him or whatever. Yeah. And it just like, it was like a beautiful waterfront, and it was just giving Maria's island vibes. We're getting closer. To him.
I know. I was like, what is Billy Zane doing in New England on Maria's island? Is he gonna be in the movie? Probably not, but hey, we can dream, right?
We got actually a really nice Instagram message. I don't know if you saw it.
I just looked at it.
Yeah, Brittany
Yeah.
C92 said, I can't believe you guys exist. I've always been obsessed and influenced by practical magic ever since watching it as a young girl, and have been reawakened with hearing the news of the sequel. I've always been obsessed with the Owens house. I found your podcast most recently after wondering about Verbena and why Sally named her shop after it. And lo and behold, my Google hits come upon two girls who had an episode on the super niche topic of Sally's Verbena shop in Practical Magic. God, I love millennials. You've got a new listener in me. That's so nice. Thank you, Brittany. I'm glad you
That
found us.
is very nice. That is pretty niche.
Yes. Yeah.
Oddly specific. That's an oddly specific thing to like type into Google, but I guess everybody wants to know something, so we got you. We got you covered.
Got you. Yeah, we can.
So, in other exciting news, we just hit 1,000 followers on Spotify.
Holy shit.
It only took us 3 years.
Oh my God. I don't care. That's
Yeah.
amazing. Thank you.
It is amazing. Thank you to everyone who's following us here on Spotify. So, if you guys love practical magic, chances are you have friends that also love practical magic. So, be sure to share our podcast with your friends. Make sure they're following us here on Spotify too. And if you're on Apple Podcasts and want to be part of our review crew, definitely leave us a written review so we can read it right here on the air and post it over to our Instagram feed because we love reposting those.
We do. I will make it a point to check at least once a month, I think is a good goal to have, not once a year.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. We really, really love hearing all of your feedback. It's just me and Jess here, so sometimes it feels like we're shouting into the ether. So your feedback lets us know you're listening and enjoying the content. And we're just going to keep going with it as long as we know people still want it.
Exactly, that's right. And speaking of feedback, we did get a Spotify comments recently in the past week, and I'm sorry to say, I think we have annoyed our very first listener with the plethora of demons on this podcast. So this comment comes from Angel, and Angel says, "Hey girls, I really love your podcast, heart emoji, but I have to say that demon sound drives me crazy. Clenched teeth emoji. It's too much as it comes up multiple times in a row and it breaks my joy to listen. Just wanted to share my feelings. Of course, you do you. Sweet face emoji. Love you girls anyway. Heart hands emoji." Well, that was the sweetest way anyone could have possibly told us how annoying we are.
Agreed.
And this is what we mean when we say constructive criticism, right? There's a difference between a hater and somebody who's just trying to make the podcast better for everybody. And I actually feel really bad that we're taking the joy out of them listening with our obnoxious shenanigans. So what do you think, Christina? Should we tone it down with the demon sound effects?
I say that if the demons comes up, maybe we each get like 2 demons an episode, at least 1 or 2.
I like that.
We don't want, so at least it's not loaded down with the summoning the Dark Lord's minions. But I agree, that's the sweetest way to let us know that what y'all like. So thank you. And you might want to buckle up for that Nautical Superstitions episode because we go a little overboard, pun intended, with the demons. So now that we know, we can tone it back a little bit.
Yeah, we recorded that before we got that comment. So there might be a couple more straggling episodes that have a little bit more of the demons. But from this point forward, I like your idea. I like the thought of making it a game. Like, we only have 1 demon usage per episode, like both of us.
We got to make it count.
Yeah, so I get 1 demon and you get 1 demon, and we like it's kind of gonna be a game. Like, when are we gonna use it? Like, you know,
and
I
who
kinda
gets it? Like, what if there's only 1 demon and like we color coordinate who's saying what in our script here? So it's kind of like a little prize.
Right, yeah.
I like that.
Oh, I like that idea. All right. So thank you so much, Angel, for your feedback. It has been received, and going forward, we will tone it down with the demons. Okay, I had to do it. I had to do it. That's going to be the last one for the episode, I promise.
Okay.
But I don't know. Maybe we can't promise. I don't know. It's just
Maybe
so
we'll
much
like
fun.
flip all the demons in at the very end. Like put all of our demons at the very end.
Oh my God. So it's just like a whole like long ass rant of like Tourette syndrome demonology.
Exactly.
I don't know. I think we need to talk about this little bit of what do you call it? I don't know.
Crafty bit of Owens.
Yeah.
Crafty Owens project you can do.
Right. You posted this a few days ago, Christina, to our Instagram account along with the caption, did the Owens house just get a Lego set with the image of an Owens Lego house? And when I tell you, when I saw that, at first I was like, is this real? As I'm sure everybody else was saying the same thing. I went to, well, you posted like, I think a TikTok store link or somewhere that linked it. And I was like, well, let me see if Amazon has it. And sure enough, they did. And I've never hit the purchase button on something so fast because I have a feeling that these are going to sell out like hotcakes, especially with the new movie. You know, a lot of practical magic content and things are resurfacing. So I have a feeling that these are gonna go quick. And Avi had actually just bought me the Coraline house Lego set.
That's sweet. Okay, cute.
Yeah. So I wanted to have a little shelf buddy when I'm done putting that one together.
So cool. You're going to have your own diorama.
I know, finally. I'm gonna probably have a shelf in the background with all my dioramas now.
I love it.
And then he also just sent me one for a Beetlejuice house, and I'm like, I don't know how much room I have for these things, but I want to do them all.
You need a new shelf.
I know, exactly. I need a shelf. Look, I don't even have shelves back here yet. So I definitely need a shelf. But I want to talk about this quote Lego house because we had quite a bit of feedback from people in the comments of this post that you posted. So Mallory Trinell said, I sent it to my boyfriend because birthday ideas.
Yes.
Perfect birthday gift. Donna Maria La, 1969, said, I love this, but I would need my son-in-law to put it together for me because I'm a big cranky baby when it comes to complicated things. And this looks complicated. I also can't do puzzles.
I got that.
That's my mom's cousin. my mom's cousin Donna. Yeah. I don't know if you've seen her slide into our DMs. She's chats us up all the time.
Okay. Great.
And I commented back, I was like, yeah, it's kind of like IKEA furniture, right? Like putting a puzzle together. It's like, have you ever put together IKEA furniture? It's a headache. And it never comes with like the right instructions. And there's always like a piece missing to like, and you're like, God damn it. Now I have to go back to the store.
That little book nook you sent me of the greenhouse, I've opened it twice and closed it right back up because I'm not ready. I am not ready. There's all these.
You want to send it back to me and then I'll put it together and then I'll send it back to you.
Yeah, okay.
All put together. You know, when I bought that for you, I was contemplating. I was like, should I send this right to her? Is she actually going to do this? Or should I send it to me, put it together for her, and then send it to her so that she could just enjoy it? But I was like, well, that kind of takes the fun out of it because it's a puzzle. And like the whole point is to do the puzzle.
I like things like that. I just need to be in the right place to do it.
Exactly. So take your time, do it when you're ready, no pressure. But I was like, yeah, it could be complicated. But I saw some people doing it on like YouTube and TikTok and they're like, it's pretty easy. Like once you get going, like it's, you know, pretty easy. But I agree. You definitely have to like set aside like a whole afternoon, maybe a few, and then have a space dedicated for something like that because all those pieces, and you don't want to like clean up every time you have to like, you know, set up and break down. It's like once you have to do that, it's like it takes the fun out of it completely. So next, Jenna Louise Skinner, author, says, genuinely the only time I've wanted to buy Lego.
Right.
And yeah, the Witch Muse says, no, how am I supposed to explain to my husband that I need this when I tell him he can't have his ugly Lego displays out clashing with the decor? Totally
get
feel
it.
that. Yeah. Avi has all of his in his office, still in boxes as well, because, like, yeah, you need shelves for this stuff, you know? Yeah, we're really low on shelves in this house, especially with cats, because they climb shelves. So, I mean, like, if you're gonna have something like this with cats in the house, it's gotta be behind, like, those closed glass doors that you could see, like a display case, you know?
Because that thing is going to explode and pieces are going to end up under your couch and you're never going to be able to put it back together because you'll never find the pieces.
You might even find one in your litter box because your cat ate one and shat it out. So, yeah, be careful with the cats with these tiny little pieces for sure. And then Cunning Celt says, take my money, please.
Right.
I know, I was saying the same thing. I ran right to Amazon. And then Ashley Atkinson 820 says, I just bought this on Amazon. Can't wait. Thanks for letting us know. Yeah, and then Chocolate Cake for Breakfast says, okay, I've calmed down. I found it on eBay and AliExpress. Being a control freak, I ordered one from both of these places in case one doesn't turn up. I've never used AliExpress before, so fingers crossed. And for reference, I'm in England. And I have been hearing that a lot of the people overseas, we had some comments from Spain and a couple from Australia. The link to the Amazon, the house in Amazon, isn't showing up for people over there.
Right.
And the people who are finding it are saying that shipping is like $90.
Ooh.
The shipping alone is like $90. It costs more than the house.
That's crazy. Oh my God. Yeah.
So I'm really hoping for you guys overseas that hopefully you get a big shipment over there and then you can purchase from a local seller, you know? So hopefully shipping won't be that much.
Yeah.
So Michelle Laboute says, thank you so much for posting this the other day. I indulged, never would have known it existed if you guys had not done that.
Yay!
And yeah, we had a couple more since you posted the Lego set a couple days ago and I bought it. I've since gotten mine and opened it, and I just posted the unboxing video to our Instagram feed last night, and we got like a lot of people saying, oh my God, I'm so glad that it's actually real. Some people didn't even think it was real.
Yeah, I can understand in our age of AI. I totally understand.
Yeah, we're questioning everything, right? Crazy. But yeah, so I have already purchased mine, opened it. It's definitely real. But then I realized what some of them might have meant. So Lego, quote, Lego, this Lego set was generally met with much excitement from the fandom. Many were excited to rush to Amazon to throw their money at this, but along with the fanatics, of course we're bound to have some people, commented on this post with a bit more skepticism and pushback. We had one from Lisa Shola said, I'm going with no. I do not feel it has the feel. Crying face emoji. Yeah.
I get that when it starts being commercialized. Like, I get it.
Yeah. And then Fifth Alchemy said, nope, it's not real. I just checked Lego. So at this point, I had already purchased mine, so I was thinking, okay, well, it's definitely real. But then I realized that what they had probably meant was that it had not been released by the actual company Lego. So the fact that it was a knockoff, quote, Lego set seemed off-putting to some, and I can understand that. So I had edited the status of the post that you posted that originally said, did the Owens house just get a Lego set? To, it looks like the Owens house got a knockoff Lego set, and it's available on Amazon for $79.99. Just to let everybody know that we're very well aware that, yes, we're aware that it's not the name brand Lego. However, the product is very real, and it's on the Amazon marketplace for sale. And listen, you're talking to the girl that will usually get store brand over name brand any day. So if it's available in store brand, I'm buying it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? But when you go with off-brand, sometimes things can get a little weird.
I like that. Yeah.
Let's check out the features of this knockoff Lego Owens house.
Okay.
So the rooms that it includes are a living room, a dining room, a bedroom, and an operating room.
My question is, how many goddamn tables? Does each room need a table? Because there is a table in the living room, in the dining room, which, yeah, you need one of those. And then a table in the operating room? Okay.
Well, here's what I think. Okay, so let's take a look at the operating room. The main thing you'll notice is that I don't think that's a table. I think that's a slab. So
come up to the lab.
Come up to the lab, see what's on the slab. So my mind... Jimmy, we go together. My mind immediately went to Jimmy's resurrection scene, right? Because they put him on the, not a slab, but like the kitchen island.
Yeah.
I guess you could call it a slab because they're about to perform not surgery, but I guess like resurrection.
Yes. I'm wondering if this is to keep away from trademark problems. You know what I mean? Just close enough. You know what I mean?
They don't want to call it a resurrection room.
Right. The cool thing is these little pieces, they look like Legos would fit in them. So you could, if you're a Lego person, you could definitely make that the apothecary, which is where I think that's supposed to be.
Right. And if you really want to get creative with it, you can hit the miniature aisle in your local craft supply store because they do have like a dollhouse section. So you can buy like a little spell book or like a little whipped cream container and like put it on a little, and you can get creative with it. Put some more little practical magic inspired Easter eggs in there,
I can't
I
wait to
think
see you build yours.
really creative with this. I cannot wait. Are we ready to get down to business today?
Yeah, let's talk about some ink.
Yeah, so starting off with the allure and the mystery of magical inks. Magical inks have long held a revered place in the world of spellcraft, alchemy, and mysticism. Far more than mere writing tools, they are vessels of intention, conduits through which energy is shaped, directed, and sealed onto the physical plane. Their allure lies not only in their vivid hues and arcane recipes, but in the way they bind the invisible to the visible, giving form to magic itself. From the smoke-darkened chambers of ancient scribes to the secret pages of modern grimoires, magical inks have been used to inscribe spells, draw talismans, and summon unseen forces. Every line drawn with enchanted ink is a spell in miniature, a collaboration between the practitioner's will and the potent vibrational signature of the ink itself. What makes magical ink magical is not only its ingredients, but also the ritual process by which it is crafted. Some are brewed beneath specific moon phases or planetary hours. Others incorporate rare botanicals, sacramental resins, or even the blood of the spellcaster. Each component carries a symbolic weight, aligning the ink with specific spiritual properties, be it protection, love, banishment, or revelation. Certain inks remain invisible until revealed by fire, lemon juice, or even time itself. Others stain the page with deep crimson hues like dried blood, their pigment saturated with the essence of hibiscus, oak gall, or myrrh. The very act of writing becomes a spell-casting ritual, each letter charged with intention, each stroke a declaration of will. We invite you to explore the hidden history and esoteric significance of these extraordinary elixirs, from ancient recipes whispered through magical lineages to modern botanical reinventions. We'll trace the journey of magical inks across cultures and centuries, unveiling their origins, functions, and the folklore that surrounds them, whether used in sacred texts or whispered letters meant only for spirit eyes. Magical inks offer more than mere ink on parchment. They offer power, protection, secrecy, and transformation. So with that, we're gonna start with the books, because there's a lot of magical inks, especially in magic lessons when Maria was kind of crafting her grimoire, the one that she got from her mother Hannah. So this starts on page 11. The first time magical inks appear in magic lessons is just in a list of practical materials. And it's kind of like, in among other things, it says pure water, blood, inks, pens, and paper. And there's like a whole bunch of like other stuff in this list of practical materials, but those were the ones that had the most to do with like things to write with, or things to use as like a way to write in a grimoire. Page 13, the crooked black letters looked like nothing more than circles and sticks, and then all at once, after weeks of attention, they became words that took on the shape of cows and clouds and rivers and seas, a miracle on the page, drawn with ink made of oak seeds, or plant sap, or animal blood, or the damp ash of charred bones. There were sympathetic inks that few knew of. A scribe could write with one, and it would not be seen until a second ink was used, or when lime juice, milk, or vinegar were brushed onto the paper, and then, after heat was applied, the message would suddenly be visible. This was true magic, the making and unmaking of the world with paper and ink.
We're going to talk about invisible ink a little bit later, but the mention of oak seeds, plant saps, and charred bones, let's talk about that real quick. So oak has long been revered as a sacred tree in Druidic, Celtic, and Norse traditions, symbolizing strength, protection, and wisdom. Oak gall ink, one of the oldest known inks, was historically made using galls. These are those growths on like the side of trees caused by a wasp larva. When combined with iron salt and gum arabic and tannins in the galls, produce a deep, durable black ink that was used in medieval manuscripts and legal documents. It's the ink of record keeping and truth, appropriate for spell work involving fate, contracts, and long-term intention. And plant saps like birch, pine, and fig latex have historically been used as natural inks and adhesives in ancient writing. In magical lore, the sap of the fig tree is associated with knowledge and prophecy, while pine sap is used for purification and warding. A practitioner might choose plant sap based on the intention: birch for new beginnings, pine for clarity, or fig for divinatory insight. And then there's bone. Ink made from bone ash holds deep symbolism, ash representing the remains of something once living, a sacrifice offered up to fuel the spell. This ink might be used in necromancy, we're going to have in a couple weeks, ancestral communication, also in a couple weeks, or to write spells calling for justice or release. The use of dove bone specifically, later mentioned, may symbolize peace, purity, and spiritual bond.
That is really cool. I did not know all that, especially about the wasp larva.
Yeah,
That's wild. And I'm always like that asshole that's like, fuck wasps. What are they good for? They don't even contribute to society. Like, they just sting people and then fuck off. But like to know that their larva is used to, make inks, like that's pretty cool. I have a new appreciation for them.
They're out there making ink.
I don't want them stinging me, but like, maybe I would try using the ink or something.
Yeah.
And I've used the ash from my fire pit outside to make black salt. It would probably be cool to try to make ink out of that, because I'm sure if you add vinegar or isopropyl alcohol to anything as a agent, I don't know what?
Like a carrier?
Yes, it's like some kind of carrier or agent to make it, I guess, writable, like you can write with it. I'm sure you can do that with anything as long as it has pigment, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Really cool. And,
cool.
if you make it, it's got more intention behind it. So I really love the idea of making your own inks.
I do too. I didn't even get into like natural dyes from, like, I know you can probably use avocado shells. Like, you ever see around Easter time, a lot of people will do like natural dyeing of the eggs, and they'll use a bunch of different like onion skins and avocado and stuff like that. I didn't even go down that rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Avi had it. This is not completely random. It has a little bit something to do with this, but he had a Starbucks dragon fruit drink in like his Yeti tumbler, right? So I didn't realize that it was, something not water. So I dumped it out into the sink, and we have like one of those, like, we don't have a stainless steel sink, like it stains easily.
Yes.
So I dumped it out, and like the pigment, a dragon fruit like drink from Starbucks is like bright ass magenta.
Yeah.
So it's all over, and there's chunks of dragon fruit in our sink, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I didn't know that this wasn't water. He was like, oh, well, just, rinse it off. I'm like, yeah, but it's like gonna stain our freaking sink. You didn't tell me. It was like bright pink, and I rinsed it right away, and it came out. But he was like, what do you mean it stains? It's just dragon fruit. I was like, do you not know where inks come from? You not know that fruit can stain?
Right. Oh, yeah. So we're going to talk about your pokeberry later. I didn't include this. I'll just say it now. I was like, oh, I've never done inks, but the stuff that stains pomegranate juice, pomegranate seeds, I've done that. I did it ages ago for like a Persephone ritual, and I used that as like a drawing writing ink, but it will fucking stain. So wear gloves.
Like any berries. And exactly, a little later on, we're going to talk about the pokeberry. I actually this episode inspired me to finally edit together that video that I recorded in 2022, mind you. I've had the footage for like 3 fucking years.
Oh, wow.
It just kept getting pushed to the back burner, but now I have a reason to edit it. I started editing it together, so I'm really excited to share it as a supplement to this episode over on the Patreon for whoever wants to watch it.
I want to watch it. Great.
Yeah. So on page 18, going back to the books, she marked this day forever after as the day of her birth, for it was indeed the formation of the woman she would become. Her fate was tied to this book as if her future had been written with indelible ink. On the first page were the rules of magic, ones Hannah declared they were obliged to follow. Do as you will, but harm no one. What you give will be returned to you threefold. And this passage was about the day that Hannah presented Maria with the toadskin-bound grimoire, where Maria writes all of her magic lessons. On page 19, she had begun her own book with Hannah's lessons taking up the early pages, and these would always remain a treasure. Maria wrote carefully with curving, near-perfect script, using ink made of the bark of hawthorn and oak trees and the ashy bones of doves she had found strewn in the grass.
So again, doves symbolize peace, spirit, and divine messages across cultures. In Greek and Roman lore, they were sacred to Aphrodite or Venus, making them messengers of love and beauty. Ink made from dove bone ash could enhance spells related to love, forgiveness, or communication with the divine. And the inclusion of hawthorn, traditionally used for protection and the heart, both physically and metaphorically, deepens the ink's connection to healing and emotional truth. And we'll throw in there, Justina taught me this, but like hawthorn, very, very much tied to the fae, right? So if
Yeah.
you're doing fae work, if you want to write them a little love note, that might be a good choice to use.
Very cute. I love working with the fae. On page 38, she, talking about Rebecca, took a bowl and filled it with water and ink, and there she saw Hannah nailed to her door, and Thomas in his bed, suffering from poison. Rebecca feared that she herself might be the third one to be afflicted. And this, I guess Rebecca here is scrying. She's using ink as a scrying tool, which is interesting.
Yeah, cool.
And I guess you could do that, right? Because for scrying, if you do it in a mirror, you need to paint the mirror black. If you're going to be scrying, you have to do it in like a dark bowl.
Yeah.
So using ink would be perfect for that.
Mm-hmm.
On page 42, some spells were too dangerous to use unless there was no choice, for they could wound the practitioner as well as the object of their conjuring. Spells for revenge or survival, in which the spell maker's own blood was used as ink to ensure that only she could read the words. On page 98, she had the ingredients for a breakbone fever cure that Adri had taught her. It had been added to her grimoire with ink drawn from the stalks of vibrant coral-colored hibiscus so that the written remedy was nearly as red as blood.
So hibiscus is associated with passion, divination, and feminine energy. The vibrant red ink made from hibiscus petals or stalks would have potent applications in spells for attraction, vitality, or health. In some cultures, hibiscus is also linked to revealing the truth in relationships, making this ink ideal for healing or clarity rituals. Its red hue, quote, we learned nearly as red as blood, may also make it a gentler substitute in working where symbolic blood is needed. So,
Right.
yeah, did you include this hibiscus ink recipe?
I did. Yeah, I found this over on, I don't know whose. It just says static1.squarespace.com. I guess Static One is the website.
Okay.
Tips and recipes from KT Petro. So that's, I guess, who posted these. On the same page, there's also a recipe for eucalyptus seed ink.
Oh,
So I don't know if you want that one too, but the hibiscus one, this calls for 2 cups ground dried hibiscus flowers, 2 cups of water, 3 to 5 cups of additional water, 10 to 20 drops of gum arabic. So what you're going to do is combine hibiscus with water in a non-reactive pot or container and bring to a boil on the stove or microwave. Let boil for 5 minutes, then add 1 cup of cold water and bring back to a boil. Repeat this process for 30 to 60 minutes. Cool the mixture and use a coffee filter to strain the solids. You're then going to add 5 to 10 drops of gum arabic for every 1 ounce of ink. Alternatively, use 2 to 4 ounces of powdered turmeric in the above recipe for a beautiful orange ink. So I guess you can change the color of it depending on any other things you want to add. But yeah,
pretty.
that was for the hibiscus one. And then the eucalyptus seed is 2 to 3 cups eucalyptus seeds, 3 cups water, 10 to 20 drops gum arabic. Combine equivalent volumes of eucalyptus seeds and water in a non-reactive pot or container and bring to a boil in the stove or microwave. Let boil for 15 to 20 minutes and then let steep while it cools. Strain out the solids. Add 5 to 10 drops gum arabic for every 1 ounce of ink. And they do include some processing tips like safety and success tips, like never use the same containers for ink making as you use to prepare food. Keep art supplies and food things separate, and you'll probably spill, so you're going to want to use a lot of newsprint. Counters, you want to make cleanup as easy as possible because making inks, this will stain your countertops and your utensils. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
What color does it make? Does it say?
It doesn't say. I haven't looked up like what hibiscus, what color it makes. Like I know sometimes you'd be surprised at like what different, I guess the skins of like different peels of fruits and vegetables, you wouldn't think that it would make the color that it does, right?
Yeah.
So some things are different than others. So I really don't know what color it makes. I'm gonna guess like a deep red maybe because the hibiscus flowers, they're like a deep like dark red. So I don't know if it's like a lighter or it depends on like how much you add,
Yeah, I don't know. I wonder what color the seeds are. A eucalyptus seed.
Right. This is saying that eucalyptus seeds and pods can produce a range of colors when used for making natural ink, including shades of orange, brown, and reddish brown.
Oh, pretty.
It says hibiscus tea can be used as ink and can produce a range of colors, most notably red, pink, purple, and even blue, depending on the pH of the solution. So it's like a hydrangea.
Very cool.
I guess it depends on like the amount of acidity in it. Yeah. It says anthocyanins, the pigments in hibiscus, shift colors based on acidity or alkalinity. Strong hibiscus tea itself is typically red, but if you add baking soda, which contains alkaline, it can turn it like a bluish gray, while adding citric acid, like a lemon juice, will probably deepen the red. It's kind of like the butterfly. Have you ever used butterfly pea flower?
I haven't, but that science is fascinating. That's so neat.
Yeah, so butterfly pea flower is already this beautiful purple color, but if you add lemon juice, it turns like this really deep violet color.
That's neat.
Awesome. I just bought some for the summer solstice party that I had, and we made like lavender lemonades with it. And if you like add like the lemon juice, obviously the lemonade, it makes it that like beautiful, bright, vibrant, like purple
So
color.
magical.
So pretty. And then add a little bit of edible glitter.
So
You're a fairy princess.
That's right.
Yeah. All right. So on page 146, she had written a letter with ink made from her own blood. It was a last attempt to see if John would do the right thing. So blood as ink is a form of sympathetic magic in using one's life essence to empower and bind a spell directly to the caster. Human blood was believed to amplify intent, especially in spells of revenge, survival, or oath-making, like listen to our blood oath episode. In some folk traditions, love letters or curses written in blood were considered unbreakable until the ink faded naturally. Animal blood, such as rooster or bat, was sometimes used in older grimoire traditions tied to divination or necromantic rites. The use of blood was risky, potent, binding, and often irreversible.
Now, we've all heard the phrase written in blood, and it usually gets tossed around as a metaphor, something dramatic, binding, irrevocable. But in the world of ancient magical practice, the phrase was often very literal. So let's set the stage. All right, we're in Alexandria, somewhere between the 2nd century BCE and 5th century CE, a time when Egyptian, Greek, and Roman traditions were overlapping, blending, and honestly sometimes clashing. Magic wasn't separate from religion or medicine or daily life, it was embedded in all of it. And one of the most powerful tools a magician could use was ink. Not just any ink. Magical inks were carefully crafted from resins, minerals, and herbs, but most potent and the most taboo were often made with blood. Now, blood is a paradox because across cultures, it's been treated as both sacred and unclean, life-giving and dangerous. In Greco-Egyptian magic, it occupied both realms at once. Blood could consecrate an object or call down divine power, but the wrong kind of blood or blood used in the wrong context, that was sorcery, that was criminal, and it was pollution. So when magicians chose to write in blood or red ink made to resemble it, they were doing something incredibly charged. They were working at the edge of what was allowed and what was holy and what was feared. Red inks were the standard for magical writing in many of the Greco-Egyptian papyri, and wasn't just for visibility. Red was the color of life force, of revelation, of binding. It was used for names of power, commands to spirits, and protective invocations. If you look closely in the Owens grimoire, there are quite a few different little sections that are like red stamped or red written, so I feel like they have that in their grimoire as well.
Do you think that all of those red stamps are done in the dove's blood?
They could be in dove's blood, which we're going to talk about later. We have a dove blood here shortly. Sometimes a red pigment came from natural materials like cinnabar or ochre, but in some spells it came from actual blood. And Greek magical papyri include instructions to write with the blood of a bat, believed to aid in divination and connection to the spirit world. One love spell calls for menstrual blood, believed to bind lovers through physical essence. These weren't metaphors, they were ingredients. The magician didn't just want the ink, they wanted ink that lived, ink that carried spirit. Blood was the closest thing they had for writing with life itself. What did blood do that other inks couldn't? Well, first, it created sympathetic bonds. We've talked about sympathetic magic on here before. Go back to our catalog. Did we have a specific sympathetic magic episode?
I think we did.
Okay.
It might have been season 1
Oh,
a
okay.
while ago. Yeah.
Blood connects the writer to the spell. If it's your blood, you're personally, energetically tied to whatever you've written. That's why some practitioners still use a prick finger to sign oaths or draw sigils because it seals the intention with their own essence. Second, blood carries sacrifice. Writing in blood is an offering. A spell written this way isn't just ink on paper, it's a living declaration, an act of devotion or desperation or power. And third, blood as ink was often used in invisible or conditional writing. Sometimes the words wouldn't reveal themselves until another substance was added or until heat was applied. These are known as sympathetic inks. And while we think of them today as chemistry tricks, ancient magicians saw them as true magic, words hidden from the unworthy, visible only to those who knew how to see. You'll still see blood ink practices today in traditional witchcraft and chaos magic and some forms of folk magic. Some practitioners mix a drop of blood into dragon's blood ink or substitute hibiscus, pokeberry, or beetroot for a safer but still symbolically potent alternative. But even if you're not working with blood directly, just knowing the history changes how you view ink in your own practice. Every magical ink has weight, color, symbolism, and intent. And for the ancient magicians, the choice to write in blood wasn't an aesthetic. It was existential. It meant the spell was alive and that the magician was bound to its outcome.
Yeah, there's a passage in the book when Maria is in jail and she asks a woman named Lydia Colson to help her by bringing her a blue journal and some ink. And Maria uses this journal and ink. And on page 190, it says, "Once she was alone in her jail cell, Maria began to write in her journal. She did so with her cuffs in place, biting at her skin. She kept the book hidden behind a loose brick. She wrote for the future, for her daughter and the granddaughters that she might have one day." And this is what she wrote. "Beware of love. Know that for our family, love is a curse. He should have been my enemy. Instead, I thought I fell in love with him, and I made the mistake of declaring my love. I was wrong to think that was love. I was too young to know any different." Maria remained in chains, and by now her wrists were bleeding, and yet she managed to write all night until there was no longer any ink. That's also like to be able to write something for your, I guess, your lineage, like for your, descendants to find down the line.
Yeah.
Ink is such a permanent thing, and our blood is so temporary. Like once we die, that our blood is gone. But if you can get it on a page, that's how you can make yourself kind of like transcend space and time. You're then immortal through those pages.
Live on forever.
Exactly.
Yeah, I love when Alice talks about the magic of how powerful the written word is in stories and stuff. I really enjoy that she includes that.
Right. And I just love the idea of the descendants having that piece of their ancestor, her blood on a page. Like if she did use her blood on the page, just having that piece of her and that tangible connection to her.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like having like
pages.
a lock of hair. It's having something
Right.
physical from that person.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Exactly. On page 193, there were scabs on her wrists from the rubbing of the metal against flesh. It's talking about Maria in her cuffs. Lydia Colson managed to sneak her another small bottle of ink, and all night she attended to the blue journal. "Wherever you are," she wrote to her daughter, "I did not wish to leave you." On page 241, Martha called herself Olivia Porter and... Wait, what? Oh, okay. So Martha, that asshole Martha Chase, when she ran away with Faith, they had these like aliases, I guess, so they can like, not be recognized, I guess, from people, because Maria was clearly trying to find Faith.
Mm-hmm.
So Maria called herself Olive Porter, and Faith had a new name each time they moved, even though changing a person's name was known to bring bad luck.
Like a boat.
Yeah, we just talked about that. So she had been called Temperance, Charity, Patience, Thankful, and Verity. When she was alone, she wrote down these names in black ink, then crossed them out with thick, blotchy lines as if doing so could block out her false identities. On page 248, Faith had recently bought a black book from the peddler to use as a journal. Finney had added a small bottle of ink and a pen, and she'd written down all she could remember from the nights when women in need came to her mother's door. How to end toothache and insomnia and skin rashes, how to cast away bad dreams and regret, how to make amends, how to find happiness. So it's like she was kind of like starting her own book of magic by trying to remember all the things that her mother would do. And she's trying to like recreate that from memory, just to have as like be close to her mother in some sense, Page 297, and then one morning in a book stall on the outskirts of the fly market, among piles of ruined and rotten manuscripts, Faith found a handwritten treatise of the Dark Arts, a grimoire that should have been burned on the day of its author's death, but had managed to escape the fire. It was called The Book of the Raven, dated 1600 London. The prose was written on thin pages of vellum in alternating red and black inks, then bound in black calfskin that had been tied together with knotted black thread. When Faith set her ear to the spine, she could hear it humming as the book came alive. On page 301, Faith kept a blanket thrown over her to shroud the magic and contain it within a circle, then drew a pentacle of Solomon on her floor with invisible ink. It was easy enough to hide her practice. So I'm wondering what she used as the invisible ink in this scenario.
Right. Right. I am not sure what 1600s invisible ink ingredients would be.
Right.
You know? Yeah.
Yeah.
But this invisible ink is also called sympathetic ink. And it's one kind of ink that hides in plain sight, waiting for fire, chemicals, or light to reveal its secrets. And yes, I know what you're thinking. Lemon juice and a light bulb, right? Grade school science project shit, right? I've never actually made invisible ink. Have you?
No, I didn't know that, that was well, I knew, it's been done before, but I don't know how to make it.
I don't either. I've never done it. Don't be fooled though, this is no child's game. Invisible ink has been a powerful tool of war, magic, espionage, and survival for thousands of years. Historically, these inks were made from simple substances like lime juice, milk, or vinegar, all of which became visible when exposed to heat. They were used for secret writing, magical contracts, or protective symbols, often intended only for spirits or the initiated to see. Because of their association with secrecy, communication, and trickery, invisible inks have long been connected to Mercury's domain, making them ideal for talismans of hidden protection, spiritual espionage, and concealed knowledge. I love that word, espionage.
Yeah.
It's great. In the world of magical inks, invisible ink holds a place of quiet power. It is the ink of secrets, of hidden truths, and unseen intentions. Traditionally used in spell work focused on secrecy, protection, and mystery, it allows a practitioner to hide magical messages, sometimes even from themselves. When you write with invisible ink, you're doing more than concealing words. You're invoking the power of the unknown. It can help amplify the energy behind spells, of privacy, protection, and sacred knowledge. And it's especially useful in rituals where what is hidden carries more power than what is revealed. Invisible ink also has a strong symbolic resonance. Writing with an ink that disappears can be a ritual gesture in itself, a reminder that unseen forces are always in motion, influencing our path, protecting our truth, and veiling what is not yet meant to be known. So some magical importance, low to moderate, it says. It doesn't explode with power on its own, but its strength lies in its stealth. It's used in spells of secrecy, cloaking, concealment, and knowledge protection. So some recommended tools, you can use Q-tip, brush, or dip pen for sigils or messages. Some practitioners anoint the tool itself as part of the ritual. Magical properties and ideal spells. Invisible ink is perfect for secrecy spells, concealing sigils or hidden names, protection of sacred text or knowledge, glamour magic where perception is manipulated, privacy intention, or unspoken wishes, because invisible ink is attuned to what is hidden. It's ideal for working with deities or spirits associated with secrets, doorways, trickery, or the unseen, such as Hermes, Hecate, or even trickster figures like Loki. Invisible inks come in two main categories, organic and synthetic. Organic inks are usually made from natural substances like that lemon juice, vinegar, milk, even sweat. Oh,
Yeah,
even
what?
sweat.
Wow.
They're revealed through heat or UV light. Synthetic inks, on the other hand, are chemical. They require specific reagents, other chemicals that react with the ink to make them visible. In the modern era, these formulas have gotten wildly sophisticated, but the idea, it's ancient. The earliest recorded use comes from none other than Pliny the Elder around the 1st century BCE in his Natural History. He describes the milk of Tithymalus. Tithymalus plant.
Yeah, Tithymalus. Never heard of that one.
Me either. Which could be used to write messages unseen by the eye. Just one of many secrets the ancient world buried in plain sight. But the Renaissance didn't just give us paintings and poetry, it also gave us egg espionage. Yes, eggs.
What?
Okay. Italian polymath Giovanni della Porta developed an invisible ink made from alum and vinegar, which could be painted into the shell of a hard-boiled egg. The liquid seeped through the shell, transferring the hidden message into the egg white. That's so cool. The only way to read it, peel the egg. the ultimate breakfast briefing.
Oh God.
Even the poet Ovid references secret writings in his Art of Love. If you think inkless communication is strictly about wars and codes, you're missing the romance. Fast forward to the American Revolution. Both sides, British and American, used invisible inks extensively. The British, ever the pragmatists, sometimes mark their letters with a tiny visible F in the corner, signaling the recipient to apply fire to reveal the message. But it was George Washington who gave us one of the most enduring phrases of the English language. His soldiers were instructed to write mundane letters in regular ink and then inscribe their secret notes in invisible ink between the lines. Thus, the origin of the phrase "read between the lines."
Oh.
That's cool.
Yeah.
It wasn't just a metaphor, it was a battlefield protocol. By World War I, things had escalated. German forces began using sulfates and cobalt salts to craft invisible inks, while Americans still relied on natural methods, that lemon juice vinegar, even diluted urine, and it became a chemical chess match. Allied forces discovered that iodine vapors could turn most invisible inks brown. In response, the Germans learned to steam their letters first. I always wondered why they did that. Like in movies and stuff, sometimes they show that.
They do what?
They steam them. They'll hold them over steam to like
I never
warm them up,
Okay.
altering the ink so that it would react. The secret ink arms race had begun. Then came the Cold War, and with it, a golden age of invisible ink espionage. In the 1960s, the CIA had 36 full-time, quote, secret writing specialists. This was not fringe craft. It was central to spycraft. Invisible ink was hidden in credit cards, pen lids, glasses frames, toothpicks, even key fobs. There were key fobs during the Cold War?
Yeah, what?
Anything could be a writing tool. Yeah, it shows how much we know.
Yeah.
Everything had to be ordinary, and that was the point. Messages were written in silk, embedded in books, concealed in hollow coins. It was about invisibility in every sense. You don't just hide what you write, you hide that you wrote at all. So where does this leave us now? Technology has made invisible ink nearly obsolete for espionage, but for magic, for art, for ritual, it's still very much alive. Modern witches and magical practitioners sometimes use invisible ink to inscribe secret names on candles, draw unseen sigils in spellbooks, or protect their work from prying eyes. Dragon's blood ink, when diluted or combined with other elements, can be made semi-visible until heat is applied. Lemon juice still holds court in kitchen witchery. And sympathetic inks, those that only reveal themselves when paired with a second ingredient, still carry the thrill of the arcane. The idea that knowledge hides behind knowledge, that secrets aren't just hidden, they're layered. Invisible ink is more than just a spy tool or a parlor trick, it's a gesture of trust, a test of perception, a way of saying, if you know how to look, you'll see. From Pliny's Tithymulus milk to Washington's war letters, from hard-boiled eggs to Cold War pens, the tradition of hiding writing is a reminder that language has always had a shadow. And in the world of magic, that shadow can be just as powerful as the word itself.
Going back to the alum for a second, because like that just piqued my curiosity. So I looked that up because it said that Mary, Queen of Scots, tended to use the alum for secret communications. So she is known to have utilized alum for secret communications during her captivity in England. She was imprisoned by her cousin, Queen Elizabeth I, due to the threat she posed to the English throne. Mary advised her correspondents to employ substances like alum or nut gall for writing secret messages. So the method using invisible ink combined with other techniques like ciphers and letter locking, an elaborate folding method used to secure letters before envelopes were common.
Like the thing you did in grade school.
Yeah, like the little
Folded up
football notes. Yeah. So they were crucial to her attempts to communicate with her supporters and conspired for her release. Unfortunately for Mary, her elaborate communication efforts were often compromised by Elizabeth's spy master, Sir Francis Walsingham, who had a network of spies and codebreakers capable of intercepting and deciphering her messages. Walsingham eventually used these intercepted communications to entrap Mary in the Babington plot, leading to her trial and execution in 1587.
Frickin' Francis.
Yeah. The use of alum for invisible ink was relatively common, a common technique during the Renaissance era alongside other substances like you mentioned before, milk or citrus. It highlights the ingenuity and resourcefulness employed in a period of intense political and religious intrigue where covert communication was essential for those operating within the shadows of power. And then I found this podcast just pop up. called The Mary Queen of Scots Cipher and the Art of Hiding Messages.
Cool.
So if you click on that link, there's like a whole fucking backstory of like, I guess how the Mary Queen of Scots, like the whole, how that all went down. So if you guys are interested in that, I will pop that over in
She
our
sounds like
show.
a bamf.
A badass motherfucker.
That's right.
Yeah, really. So fascinating how, yeah, this literally goes back, like, to the ancient times.
That's amazing.
Yeah, very fascinating. So going back to the book, on page 307, darker ingredients were in demand as well as squid ink, thought to make tangible whatever was written in script. The hollow bones of birds for divination, mushrooms for erotic adventures or for revenge, seeds and oils to end a pregnancy, a knotted rope to burn, and the ashes then eaten to bring forth a child.
I wanted to look this up because you would think like octopus and squid ink. It's ink, it's in the name. But
Yeah.
like all the stuff I was finding was mostly for like culinary purposes in our modern time. And I'm guessing it's for like ethical reasons, not just for writing. So like cuttlefish ink in a flavor profile is milder, smoother, and more palatable, often described as having a subtle brininess and umami richness, whereas squid ink can have a stronger, more metallic taste, which may be off-putting to some, especially those new to the flavor. However, squid ink has been used for centuries for many purposes, and in the early 19th century, it was used for writing, drawing, and painting. Traditional Chinese medicine used it to treat heart and blood issues. Today, we use it for cosmetics and hair dye, mascara, because of its distinct color. Didn't know that. Japanese and Mediterranean cuisine commonly use squid ink as a food additive. The high content of glutamate, which is an amino acid, has a savory umami taste. This flavor is nice in sauces and adds flavor to pasta and rice dishes. Between the octopus, squid, and cuttlefish, there is a variety of color in their inks. The octopus creates the blackest ink. Squid produces a bluish black ink, which is what we visualize when someone refers to the color of ink. And the ink in the cuttlefish is more of a reddish brown. Squid ink gets its dark color from melanin. Melanin is a natural pigment and is the same in cephalopods as in humans. For humans, melanin gives color to our hair and our skin. For squid, octopus, and cuttlefish, they use their ink as defensive tools. These animals release their dark ink from an ink sac when they feel threatened or attacked. The released ink distracts the predator and allows them to camouflage and disappear. The ink is released in different formations. There's the classic ink cloud, small diffuse puffs, worm-like trails, ink ropes, gross, clouds, smoke screens, and even a pseudomorph, which is an ink stream that resembles the squid or octopus. The different formations allow the cephalopod then to escape.
Interesting. Could you imagine if we like behaved like animals, like octopi, and we just, traveled around with a bottle of ink, and if anybody tried to like fuck with us, we just like throw the ink at them, like just like squirt at them. Like, can't catch me, bye.
Just keep salt in your pocket like salt cloud.
So, have you ever had squid ink pasta?
No.
It's interesting.
You've had
to
it?
say the least. Yeah, I have had it before.
Okay.
It does have a very mildly fishy taste, but I would say that it's something that you definitely have to eat fresh. You can't doggy bag this because like I had a lot of pasta left and I was like, I'll take some home. Doggy bagged it, sat in my fridge for maybe a day, decided to heat it back up. When I tell you how much fishier it gets, it just like concentrates in fishiness taste in the fridge.
Oh.
You don't want to heat that back up. It's not very good.
It looks very goth. It's like
is
goth pasta.
It is goth pasta. It's so good though with like some this person, what is this site? Caroline'sCooking.com has a recipe for squid ink pasta with shrimp and tomato. Looks amazing. That looks so freaking good. So like, yeah, it's really good. I love it. I've never made it, but I also included a link here if you want to make your own squid ink pasta. This is from loveandoliveoil.com, has a whole recipe on how to make your very own homemade squid ink pasta. So like, you're rolling out the dough and you're probably adding your own ink in from, I guess if you get, I don't know, I would guess that they sell these ink sacks at like a fishery or something. Like
they sell bottles, like you can buy bottles for culinary
Oh.
uses. So I don't know why you couldn't use it for ink.
Oh, yeah,
I don't
I'm
know
sure.
if it's diluted. I have no idea. But yeah, that was like popping up under the shopping option on Google.
Okay, yeah, you're probably probably right. I didn't even think about that. I'm like, yeah, you gotta get the sack from from a fish market. Yeah, you're probably right. They probably do sell it by the
You gotta
bottle.
milk
I'm an
that
idiot.
octopus.
Wait, bottled squid ink. Let's see. They do. They sell cuttlefish ink on Amazon. You can get it. A 3.2 ounce jar or 90 grams is about $13. So yeah,
Interesting.
definitely buy a bottle of that and make your own squid ink pasta. And yeah, it's great in spaghetti, risotto, paella,
Pizza?
throwing it back. Pizza.
Favorite.
Yeah. So definitely try that out if you're feeling a little adventurous and you like seafood. If you don't like the fishy taste, or you don't like seafood, then you might not like this so much. Yeah. And we have two more from Magic Lessons book on page 313. Inside the velvet pouch was powdered vervain used in dark acts of magic and a slip of black rope tied into knots to protect her 3 times. A note had been written upon black paper with red ink that disappeared as soon as it was read. Travel well, trust no one. And this was a note that Faith had written and left for Elizabeth Colson in the garden. And I don't know if you remember who Elizabeth Colson was. Remember that lady Lydia Colson that was in the jail, I guess, with Maria? She had a granddaughter, and I guess her granddaughter was being accused of witchcraft, and Lydia was like, here's a I don't know, a to-go bag. Get the fuck out. Go to New York. Get out of here while you still can. And
Got it. Okay.
yeah.
I had no idea. I gotta reread that book.
Yeah, same. There's so many details. Like, yeah, I read this passage and then I had to like go back into the search bar and be like, who is Elizabeth Colson? Like, I don't know. I don't remember who she was either.
Yeah.
And last in this book, page 336, she awoke in a panic, and sure enough, the window in Faith's chamber was open and there were footprints in the damp grass. On the bedside table was a note written with red ink on black paper. Do not follow me. You should have told me who my father was. If you try to stop me, then you will be the one I never forgive. This is my life to live.
If you want to stop me, you'll have to kill me. Do you know that?
So I guess that was what Faith wrote to Maria, right?
She's so angsty.
Angsty teen, for
Oh,
sure. Yeah. She's kind of giving like Kylie vibes in the Book of Magic, right?
Uh-huh.
Kylie, like, I'm getting the fuck out of here and I'm going to find my ancestors.
My dad. It's Kat
Dad.
Dennings. Is this Kat Dennings?
All right, so there's only 2 mentions here for rules of magic. I could have sworn there were more in this book because I felt like Vincent dabbled a lot in like the grimoire realm. So on page 57, this says the grimoire contained instructions on how to craft talismans, amulets, and healing charms. Some formulas were written in ink that was specially made from hazelnuts or madder. Others were written in the writer's blood. And madder, is that a powder? That's from a root, right? That's what Franny also used that to dye her hair.
Yeah, red. Yeah.
Right. And on page 186, it was then he, talking about Vincent, noticed a card atop the trash can. The ink was faded, nearly invisible to the naked eye, but he managed to read the message. Abracadabra. It was Aramaic in origin, meaning I create what I speak, the most mystical and powerful blessing and curse. Begin by walking down Bleecker Street. Moving on to Book of Magic. This starts on page 28. Jet kept a photograph of Vincent in her bedside table drawer, along with her treasured packet of letters from Raphael. She took out her best stationery in a pen and red ink that made the white paper flush the color of roses. On page 37, on the very first page of Un Desiderio was written in pale blue ink, one wish, that was what the book promised to grant its reader. On page 105, there it was, amongst the rarest of the rare, a slim book bound in black leather that had been tied together with knotted silk thread. The text had been shoved between 2 of John Hathorne's journals, which consisted of little more than financial details. His books were so mundane, they had masked the power of magic of the Book of the Raven. The text had been waiting, quite impatiently, to be selected for more than 300 years. The prose on the thin pages of vellum had been carefully crafted in alternating red and black inks.
I can
On
hear
page-
you rubbing your knee.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I'm like scratched.
It's just like self-soothing.
Self-soothing. On page 106, Kylie examined the frontispiece on which the author had drawn a sketch of Raven in black ink. 1615, London. When Faith Owens found the text at a market in Manhattan in the 17th century, she had written her name in the lower left corner. On page 167, that was what saved him, those books. He celebrated each text he completed by getting a tattoo from a pal who used ink from broken pens and straight pins held over a match to sanitize them, more or less. Luckily, the fellow was a true artist who did quite good work. At the end of his time served, Ian was covered with ink. 19 tattoos in all, and everyone told a story. His chest was inked with a series of images, and his arms were sleeves of magic. Yeah, we went into what exactly his tattoos were, I think, in the alchemy episode that we did, so we won't get too much into what the actual images are here, but I wanted to talk more about the tattoo ink primarily, because that consists of pigments and a carrier solution, like all inks basically, right? Pigments are the colorants, which can be derived from various sources like minerals, synthetic compounds, or even vegetables, and the carrier, typically a liquid, helps disperse the pigment. It aids in the application and can include ingredients like water, alcohol, or glycerin. Additives like preservatives and stabilizers may also be present. So as far as the pigments, there's inorganic pigments and then there's the organic pigments. Inorganic, these are often derived from minerals, which include carbon black, which is used for black ink derived from soot, iron oxides used for black, red, and brown inks, titanium dioxide used for white ink, cobalt salts used for blue and violet inks. And then when we talk about organic pigments, these are synthetic compounds used for brighter colors. Azopigments, a common group used for yellows, reds, and oranges. And then you have the phthalocyanine or cyanine pigments used for blues and greens.
I want to add in India ink.
Oh.
Probably not ideal, probably not the safest, but that's what I got my first tattoo with. It was like in my boyfriend's basement, and he had like gotten like sterile needles, and he rigged up like an RC car motor.
Oh my God.
And that's how I got my first tattoo. And it's still, I mean, it's blue now, so, but it was black at the time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Obviously, henna is a type of, henna is a plant, right? But you could derive ink from that as well. It's like a semi-permanent. I don't know if people use it for tattooing. I'm just speaking in general, like if you've ever had a henna tattoo, it stains your skin for, quite a few days, maybe a couple weeks, if that.
Yeah.
But then it goes away on its own. But it does stain pretty well.
Yeah, it does.
And I also heard people have also dyed their hair with henna.
Yeah, I've heard that too.
So going back to the tattoos, as far as the carriers, water is the most common solvent. Then there's alcohol, often ethyl alcohol or isopropyl, also known as rubbing alcohol, used for disinfection and to help the pigment penetrate the skin. Glycerin is used to help suspend the pigment and add to the ink's consistency. And then witch hazel may be used as a carrier or additive known for its antiseptic properties. And sometimes there's additives added, preservatives to prevent bacterial growth, stabilizers to prevent the ink from separating or fading, and surfactants to help the ink spread evenly. And it's worth noting that tattoo ink ingredients can vary, and some pigments and additives may pose health risks. I've heard that red tattoo inks can actually give people a very bad reaction.
Yes.
One of our friends, she has MS, and I don't know if it had something to do with that, but she had a tattoo done with red inks, and she couldn't walk for like,
oh my God. That's extreme. Yeah, I have heard that red will initiate some kind of an allergic reaction sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah, so definitely be careful with the red inks. And some inks do contain heavy metals, while others may break down into harmful substances. The FDA does not regulate tattoo inks, so it's important for both tattoo artists and clients to be aware of the potential risks and choose reputable brands. And I'm sure we could do a whole other episode with Selena if she decided to, come
have
back
some free time.
Yeah, so
definitely. Check out Selena Medina's information. This is her realm, and our tattoo episode, season 2, I think. Yeah. 1 or 2, doesn't matter. This is her realm of like tattoo safety, FDA, importance of safety for clients and the world of tattooing. So she's amazing.
So page 168. There were times when he, Ian, thought of himself as a book that was being written with blue ink printed on his flesh. The images could not be removed or reversed, and he was glad of that. They heralded who he was, a tribute to the books he'd read that had set out the path for the rest of his life. On page 172. On the cluttered bedside table, there was a poppet, a hand-stitched doll dressed in a white shirt and black pants, its hair long and dark. its face featureless, clearly meant to represent the man in question. The entire chest of the doll had been marked with spots of ink, then cut open with a sharp knife. Beside it was a small, bloody bird's heart. Blood blistered down onto the floor, forming into pools that had scorched the wood. All right, wait, sidebar. So this says Ian has long and dark hair.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
So does Lee.
So does Lee Pace in that photo that we saw of him standing with Sandra Bullock.
Was he wearing a white shirt? I know he was wearing a blazer.
He was wearing a blazer and a white shirt.
Oh, God. Okay.
He's gotta be
closer to
Ian.
the mystery.
He's gotta be Ian.
He's gotta be Ian.
Page 248. There were enchantments jotted down in red ink composed of hibiscus and the brown ink of hazelnuts and gallnuts in which a wasp lays its eggs, used before the larva could burrow out, with deep crimson blood, with the black bark of hawthorn branches or the soot of lamps. Some of these inks indelible, others invisible, some laced with vinegar or rainwater, written in English and Latin and runic. I like how Alice did all her research on how to make inks.
So smart.
You know? So Franny, as she wrote that ink on the pages of the original grimoire, rubbed off onto her fingertips and sank into her flesh and bones so that her veins turned dark blue and then black, threading up her arm straight to her heart. She could feel the years unwinding. She could feel the magic inside of her. She had always wanted time to move backwards, and now it did. And she held the grimoire against her chest. It was already waterlogged, as if she went deeper. The pages disintegrated, and ink pulled in black circles. Words floated everywhere, shimmering on the water. Words made up the world.
I'm so glad we're going to get more aunts content in this next movie because, Stockard and Diane are so amazing. They're such amazing actresses. I don't feel like they were considered main characters in, it's Sally's story and Jillian's story kind of, but Sally's our main character. But here, they're going to have so much more of an impact in this second movie. This is their story too.
Right.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah, I'm wondering if they're gonna kind of move away from Sally being the protagonist, even though, she still is, because she has to come swoop in at the end and save her daughter, so to some extent she's got to have that main character arc.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm wondering how they're going to split that up, because there are so many subplots going on, because Antonia's in her own bubble, Kylie's off on her own venture, the aunts are kind of helping Sally find Kylie, but then Franny goes off and has her own venture, so it's kind of everywhere, you know? I'm wondering how they're going to keep this focused.
We got almost a year and a month.
Yeah.
Oh, so close. Do you want to take a break here before we get into the history of ink and magical inks themselves?
Yeah, so let's take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk about the history, the lore. We're going to tell you how to make pokeberry ink. Lots more different kinds of inks. More of that, and all that in a bag of Doritos. We'll be right back.
We've done this before.
All that in a bag of pokeberries. Hey, little witches! The Stina's here. If you've been listening to our podcast for a while, you would know how much we love using the Practical Magic Inner Witch Oracle deck by Grounded by the Moon.
And now we want to share the magic of Grounded by the Moon with you, our listeners. Joseph Benitez Egerton, the creator behind Grounded by the Moon, would like to offer this very special 10% off discount to all who wish to experience the magic of his Practical Magic themed tarot and oracle decks.
But that's not all. He also creates other divination tools like tarot workbooks, deck bags and altar cloths, pendulum kits, oil blends, cleansing sprays, smoke wands, teas, and ritual kits.
And let's not forget about his custom handcrafted all-natural soy candles, where every candle is hand-poured and personally infused and charged under the light of the moon. They even come with a crystal.
And did we mention all of the ingredients in the candles are ethically sourced?
All of Joseph's offerings are just so magical. So go visit groundedbythemoon.com and use the coupon code Magnolia Magic for 10% off your entire order at checkout.
That's MAGNOLIA MAGIC. So get your discount today.
Hey, we're the Stinas, and you're listening to the Magnolia Street podcast. What can we use for our pull today? What card do you think we can?
Good question. I don't know if there's anything in this oracle deck that the only thing that I can think of is letters.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Oh, there is a Book of Shadows card. There's the grimoire. Have we pulled that one before?
Probably in our grimoire episode.
Yeah, probably right. Yeah, so I could do that one. Yeah.
Is there blood? Is there a blood one?
There is.
Whatever you want to do.
Yeah, I think there is a blood. Didn't we read that one in our blood?
Yeah,
episode?
probably.
Yeah, blood bond. Yeah, there is a blood one. Okay, so there's blood bond, Book of Shadows, and letters. Which one do you think
Hits the closest? Probably letters,
think so?
to be honest.
Letters to Cleo.
Cruel to be kind.
So yes, communication is the keyword here. And this is a really cute image. Check this out.
Oh, yeah.
It's got the pen, right? The
Little
ink.
postage, red stamp.
There you go. Communication and openness are the keywords here. Authentic, genuine communication is a powerful and meaningful form of magic. This is a reminder of how important it is to be open and honest with not only yourself, but others around you. The letter is deeply connected with one's energy and emotions. Take the time to communicate. This can also be a sign that there is currently a struggle with communication in your life. Open those waves of communication. It is essential for every witch. Open communication with oneself, others, and chosen spiritual guides is directly connected with magic. Spells are small letters that aid in opening that communication and connectedness with all. And the mantra on this card is I openly communicate and express myself. So I guess if you're not a Gemini and you need some communication in your life, because Christina's all about the reaching out and, opening those lines of communication.
Sure. Sometimes you need a little help, though, and magical inks can amplify that need.
That is right. And there's something so permanent about, writing in ink, like pen and ink. Have you ever written with a quill pen?
Yeah, I was going to ask you that at the beginning, but I didn't want to interrupt you. We went to Williamsburg, Gettysburg, some shit with the reenactors, and they made us carve our own little quill. I could not do that, but I used to really love calligraphy.
Yeah.
As an artist, but not with a feather. It seems very hard.
Yeah, I've written with it a few times, whether in art school or just fooling around or whatever. And it's it's a little bit of a learning curve. Literally curving the letters and cursive and having to keep dipping it in the ink and to get a constant flow of, ink across the page. It takes practice.
I love the scratchy ASMR, to watch people do it. It's very satisfying.
It is. But calligraphy is a whole other art in and of itself. And I don't know how people write that beautifully. I wish my handwriting was pretty like that.
You do have nice handwriting. You have specific Justina handwriting, but it takes a lot of practice. I was just thinking this 2 days ago. You were saying the permanence of a pen. And when you're a kid in school, I was I don't want to use a pen because I mess up so frequently. I was pencil, give me a pencil. And probably the teachers drove that into us too because we're kids. Right. But now I'm unless it's something for drawing, I need a pen. Give me a pen because I can't see.
Do you remember the erasable pens, the blue erasable pens?
Those are sweet.
Those were nice because it was it kind of gives the air of permanence, but then you can erase it if you fucked up. But I love me a good pen. There's nothing like a good it glides nicely. It doesn't scratch the page.
Let me just shout out this Sharpie S gel. The doctor at the inn keeps leaving these in his room.
Oh my god.
6. They're so nice. They write so nice.
Yeah.
Get you some.
You know what's so ironic to me? Doctors have the nicest pens and they always have the worst handwriting.
Yep.
Hot take.
The doctor is very messy. He's very messy.
His handwriting. Probably like his handwriting.
All right. So let's get into a brief history of ink, record keeping to ritual. So the story of magical inks begins with the origin of ink itself, one of the oldest technologies for storing human thought. Writing inks date back to around 2500 BCE when ancient Egyptian and Chinese scholars first developed formulations for lamp black, a fine soot produced from burning oil or resin mixed with gums or animal glue. These early inks were often molded into solid sticks, which were rehydrated with water when needed. While the primary function was utilitarian, used for recording laws, prayers, or astronomical observations, these inks also became deeply embedded in religious and ceremonial contexts. Over Over time, practitioners in various cultures began experimenting with plant-based and mineral-based pigments, resulting in vibrant inks with magical, medicinal, and symbolic properties. Ingredients like alixirin derived from madder root, symbolizing vitality and rootedness. Indigo from the indigofera plant, used for clarity, intuition, and spiritual vision. Pokeberry juice, known for its deep magenta hue, often linked to blood magic and ancestral rites.
So pretty.
It's beautiful.
Love pokeberry ink.
Cochineal, which is crushed insect, sacred to Mesoamerican cultures, used in rituals of sacrifice and transformation, and sepia, from the cuttlefish ink, associated with memory, mystery, and the unconscious. These ingredients were not chosen for color alone. Each carried vibrational correspondences, becoming conduits for magical intention, as well as aesthetic expression. So why would you want to craft your own ink to begin with? Well, why wouldn't you? Magical practitioners use herbal correspondences every day. So why not work those correspondences into the very core of your practice? There's resin inks. Resins can be a bit trickier to work with, as you don't want to make your inks too thick, especially if you're using them in a foundation or a fountain pen. For these kinds of inks, you can begin with an ink base of filtered water, alcohol, or gum arabic. Grind your resin into a fine powder before adding them to the ink base, and add them slowly until you get your desired color. Make sure that the resins are dissolved fully before using them.
Is gum arabic a liquid medium?
Yes. I think,
Okay. I've never used it before. I always hear it. I'm like, what is
yeah.
that?
I think you can get it at Michael's.
Okay.
Dragon's blood is a traditional resin used in inks a lot, but feel free to experiment with frankincense, myrrh, opoponax,
Oh, what's that word?
and other resins in conjunction with different herbs. And just a side note, this author says, I tend to walk on the side of caution with these inks. I don't use them with my fillable fountain pen. I prefer to use them with dipping pens instead, in order to prevent the resin from sticking to the inside of the inkwell in their pen. There's the lamp black ink. Lamp black refers to the soot that naturally collects in oil lamps traditionally. This would be scraped off of the lamp and mixed with water or alcohol to create a deep black ink. If you don't have access to oil lamps, you can also create lamp black by holding a metal spoon over a candle flame and scraping off the back soot that collects on the metal. This can be extremely time consuming, as you can only get a small amount of lamp black. And this person says, I find that I usually have to sit and collect soot for over an hour. If you save time or make a large batch of lamp black ink, you can find watercolors made purely of lamp black and gum arabic, which you need anyway. So both are a viable option. And then there's berry or bark inks. Most berry and bark make great inks and dyes, and they are some of the easiest recipes to work with. Typically, you boil the berries or the bark in filtered water until you get enough of the deep color. Keep in mind that most inks become lighter as they dry, so it's better to go darker. Then add a little alcohol in order to preserve the ink, and a little gum arabic powder in order to allow the ink to stick to the paper rather than running all over. Some good berries and barks include hawthorn berries, nightshade berries, just use caution, cinnamon bark, walnut shells, and pokeberries, as Justina is going to tell us all about right now.
Yeah, the great thing about the pokeberry ink is that you don't need to boil it. You don't need to do any of that extra process.
Okay.
You can literally just pull them right off the vine, press them down into a juice, add your alcohol, and you're good. You're done.
Wow.
Also, I think it adds a cool kind of like spooky ooky factor if you're trying to make, like, I did this around the beginning of spooky season back in 2022, and I was making like spooky little things for my patrons. So I did a little painting out of the pokeberry ink that I made, and it adds the fact that the berries are poisonous and toxic adds a whole other air of like, maybe you could use these for if you're into doing curses and hex work.
Yeah.
Maybe using toxic berry ink for that, if that's what you're into. That was not my intention at all. I just thought it was cool and it sounded, it was like, ooh, toxic berries. And
Yeah.
okay. This technically isn't my recipe. I got this from another YouTuber named Studio Tamra. Before we get into her recipe though, I did actually modify it to fit my own needs because I wasn't using half as much as she did. I think she did like 2 cups of pokeberry. I think I only used like a half a cup. But before we get into the recipe, let's take a look at the pokeberry, what it is, where does it come from? Is it poisonous? Yes, it is pretty poisonous. The pokeberry comes from the pokeweed. So Phytolacca, I think that's how you say it. Phytolacca is a genus of perennial plants native to North America, South America, and East Asia. Some members of the genus are known as pokeweeds or similar names such as pokebush, pokeberry, pokeroot, or poke salad. The names for the species of Phytolacca include inkberry and ombu. The generic name is derived from the Greek word phyton, meaning plant, and the Latin word lacca, meaning red dye. Phytolactotoxin and phytolactogenin are present in the leaves, stems, roots, blossoms, berries, etc., in many species which are poisonous to mammals if not prepared properly. The berries are eaten by birds, which are not affected by the toxin. The small seeds with very hard outer shells remain intact in the digestive system and are eliminated whole. The seeds are very, very teeny tiny. The genus comprises about 25 to 35 species of perennial herbs, shrubs, and trees growing from 1 to 25 meters, about 3 to 80 feet tall. They can get big. The bush that I had that I picked the berries from that year, it was huge. They have alternate simple leaves pointed at the end with entire or crinkled margins. The leaves can either be deciduous or evergreen. The stems are green, pink, or red. The flowers are greenish white to pink, producing long racemes at the ends of the stems. They develop into globose berries, 4 to 12 millimeters, about 0.2 to 0.5 inches in diameter, green at first, ripening dark purple to black. So yeah, they do start like a very like a lime green kind of color, or like a white green kind of color, and then as the season goes on, the closer it gets to fall, the berries will turn like a juicy, plump, like dark purple magenta color.
Very much.
And the thing, I don't know if you call it the stem or I don't know, the stamen or what it is. What the berries are attached to is like this really bright magenta color. And then the berries are like darker, plump purple.
They look like little grape clusters.
Kind of, yeah. It's like kind of like pulling them off of like the grapevine a little bit.
Yeah. We were in the woods the other day and like I told you there's a huge one out there and we were just driving by and I tried to push it out of the way because like I don't know. And I got a little just pushing it out of the way. I wasn't even attempting to touch any of the berries, but I got the ink on my hand just from like moving it aside. So that it'll get you.
They do stain. Yes, they do. And they are poisonous, and the poisonous ingredients include phytotoxin and phytolicigenins. All part of the pokeweed plants are toxic to humans. The highest amounts of poison are found in the roots, the leaves, and the stems. I have heard of people boiling the leaves and like eating them. Like I'm like, why would you want to fucking eat that? Small amounts are in the fruit. I guess small amounts of the toxins. So you can eat the berries, just don't eat the seeds. I don't know how that make that make sense? Because if you eat the berries, you have to eat the seeds, right? So I don't know. Cooked berries and leaves, cooked twice in separate water, can technically be eaten. However, this is never recommended because there is no guarantee that they are safe. The roots should absolutely never be eaten. And symptoms most often appear within 6 hours of ingestion, and symptoms may include seizures, convulsions, diarrhea, sometimes hemorrhagic, like bloody hemorrhaging, headache, loss of consciousness, low blood pressure, muscle spasms, nausea and vomiting, rapid pulse, slow or difficult breathing, stomach pain, weakness. These will fuck you up. Just don't eat them. Make beautiful ink with it.
It's good to know that if you brush by it, you're okay. Because I've been like just avoiding touching it at all.
Yeah, no, it's fine to touch. Just don't eat them. Just don't ingest them at all.
Okay.
And as far as home care, if you do accidentally ingest one, seek immediate medical help. Do not make the person throw up unless told to do so by poison control or healthcare provider.
I wonder why.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that maybe would damage you further internally. I have no idea. So some precautions to take when working with pokeberries. I would just do this. These are some precautions that I take when making the pokeberry ink. Some things to note here. If you're going to make pokeberry ink, do this outside away from your pets, because if they accidentally ingest anything, you don't want to deal with that. And then also not so much on the poisonous side. This is just for like, your sanity. Don't use any tools from your kitchen that you use in your everyday cooking. You don't want to cross contaminate anything poisonous with what you're normally using for your everyday prep with your cooking. I would suggest going to the dollar store and getting yourself some cheap tools that you can reserve for your toxic potion making, and then keeping those in their own bin out in your shed or on your porch, somewhere that's not in your home where young children or pets can access them. And I wouldn't even put anything that I've used to make pokeberry in my dishwasher. I would just rinse them outside with a garden hose and keep it all outside. So now for the recipe. The video that I used that first intrigued me to want to learn how to use my pokeberry ink. This was from a user called Studio Tamara, Tamera, and she's a wonderful plein air painter. So she paints a lot of like outdoor scenery, and like she does a lot of seasonal stuff. She wears her little witch hat and sunglasses and her little she shed, and she's like the coolest friggin' little painter chick ever. And she's got a she shed, which I'm so jealous of, and that's where she actually made her ink. Yeah, I must warn, although the ink from this berry is bright magenta and gorgeous, makes a beautiful ink, this is very messy. It's a very messy process, and you definitely want to work on a surface that you don't mind staining, and just put a lot of newspaper or cheap dollar store plastic tablecloth down, or a tarp, because this shit stains. And the Tamara chick that I saw making this initially, she was doing this in her she shed, and she was getting berry juice everywhere. She had like a nice rug, and like a berry fell on her rug, and she's like trying to scrub it out, and I'm like, girl, what are you doing? And it's like all over her notebook with her ingredients, and she wasn't even using gloves. She was just raw dogging this shit. Like,
dang, girl. Okay.
Like, look at this picture I included. That's her notebook after she made it.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I thought that was yours. Okay.
No, that's hers. She made it. I tried to like not get this messy. I used rubber gloves. Like, you know, I made sure I had one baking tray with like a parchment over it to contain all the juice, and I just did it outside on my planter table. And I tried to keep things as neat as possible, but it can get very messy if you let it. For the ingredients, she used 2 cups of ripe pokeberries, 1 teaspoon of white vinegar or isopropyl alcohol, and some of the supplies and equipment you're going to need are a mortar and pestle, a wire mesh strainer, a cheesecloth, latex gloves, and a wide-mouthed jar. And then you're going to want to harvest your pokeberries. You could just pull them right off the bush. She rinsed her berries and allowed them to dry. I didn't even bother doing that. I just pulled them right off the bush and went right to town. So then you're going to crush your berries in your container, your mortar and pestle. Mortar, right? Mortar and pestle. Then place your mesh strainer on your wide-mouthed jar. Put your crushed pokeberries from your mortar and pestle into your strainer. Then you're going to mash the berries more into the strainer so that the juice separates from the skin and the seeds, and then the juice falls into the jar below. And then this doesn't even say add your agent, like your vinegar or your alcohol. You're going to add that then, and then I guess shake it all up. Then you can bottle your ink, store it in a cool, dry place. And one thing that I do want to mention is that this ink does fade over time. I recently did find one of my old swatches when I painted with it, and it's no longer that beautiful bright magenta color. Like now it's more of like a rusty like maroon color. So I'm not sure if maybe sealing your painting with a Mod Podge or clear protectant spray would prevent it from fading over time. Yeah. I don't think I did that when I initially painted with them. So yeah, if you want to prevent it from fading, I don't know if any of those methods work, but feel free to try it out. Let me know. But this is the painting that I made for my patrons. They're like little like, I don't know, maybe like 2 by 3 inch little paintings, and I did like a little cauldron with like green, I don't know, I guess that's green watercolor paint, but the background I did like a pokeberry wash, and then I did the splatters with the pokeberry ink, and then I just did some stampage across the bottom that says conjure.
I was lucky enough to get one of these.
You did get one. Did yours fade? Do you still have it like
it did fade a little bit, yeah.
Okay.
But what I was looking for was you also made this cool insert for like a book of shadows, which I keep in my baneful herbs section. But Justina made this really cool for her Bohemian Magic. It's just like a pokeweed ink insert with everything she just said, but like a really cool, very Owens style. It's got like a warning on it, but it has like the plant itself and the ingredients and very cool script.
Yeah, it's like grimoire style page.
Yes.
Almost. Yeah. I think I actually did post, I don't remember, I might have reposted this one to our Patreon a while ago because we were talking about pokeweed a while ago. I don't
Yeah,
remember what episode it was.
sure. I
Yeah.
love it. I really
Yeah.
appreciate you sending this to me.
But maybe I'll bump that back up, or I'll pin that one at the top for this episode if anyone wants to download
Yes.
it. But yeah, so that's it. It's actually a really easy process. It's just very messy. So I haven't done it again since, but like I said, I did find the footage of me making the ink. So I'm currently editing it together. If anybody wants to see the process and how I painted with it, I'm planning on adding that one to our Patreon after this episode as well.
Oh, can't wait to see it.
Yeah.
Cool.
So,
Ooh, that would be kind of cool to use as a like a sigil for your like I'm thinking of like your trees. Like if you can make even just the crushed berries with a
yeah.
little bit of the alcohol and like dip your brush in it and then you can paint it on your trees as like
Ooh,
warding.
yeah.
Or underneath like a stone, to, put
Uh-huh.
it on stonework in your garden,
I like that idea. I wonder how well like ink from a pokeberry, or even like if you take a piece of your tree bark and then you can make some ink from the because we're going to
Hmm.
talk about tree barks, right? Like ink from tree barks. I'm wondering if you could do that and then ink your tree with the bark that you made the ink from. So it's
Right.
kind of like a
Yeah,
sigil.
it's a temporary because it's probably going to wash when it, rains, but
Yeah.
that's fun.
Give your trees and rocks little tattoos.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So moving right along, we're going to talk about iron gall ink. I've never heard of iron gall. So I guess let's just dive in. So for centuries, the most widely used ink in both mundane and magical texts was iron gall ink, made by combining a soluble iron salt, often ferrous sulfate, with tannins extracted from oak galls or any other plant sources. This ink, originally pale blue-gray on the page, would oxidize over time to a dark, nearly black hue, a slow transformation reflecting the alchemical nature of many magical workings. Because of its permanence and difficulty to remove, iron gall ink was often used for legal documents in sacred texts, wards, oaths, and contracts in magical practice, and hidden or delayed reveals spells where the ink's transformation echoed the workings unfolding over time. In modern formulations, iron gall ink remains the basis of blue-black inks, enhanced with synthetic dyes to make the writing darker from the outset while retaining its long-term durability.
So do you think that's the blue ink that Maria used back in the
Mm,
day? Like
that
in
could
the
be
cell?
possible. Yeah, that could be possible. Next we have India ink, which is what Christina's first tattoo is made from, and the scribes black mirror. So India ink, a carbon black ink made from fine soot, lamp black, suspended in water, is another foundational ink, especially in Eastern magical and artistic traditions. It is stabilized with substances like shellac. Oh, shellac, right. Like, I guess that clear
Yeah.
coating, right? Dissolved in borax for gloss and adherence, soap or gelatin for smooth flow, and gum arabic or dextrin as binding agents. India ink's intense blackness and permanence made it the ink of choice for calligraphy, sacred geometry, magical diagrams, especially in Hindu, Taoist, and Buddhist traditions. It was used to inscribe mantras, mandalas, and other sacred forms, often with meditative intent. In occult traditions, its dense blackness is sometimes viewed metaphorically as a mirror of the unconscious, making it ideal for scrying diagrams, shadow work journaling, protection sigils, or baneful or banishing writings. Modern colored inks are typically made with synthetic dyes chosen for brightness and variety. While they lack the natural vibrational signature of plant-based or mineral inks, they are still used in color magic, especially when tied to chakra, planetary, or elemental correspondences. However, most modern inks are not light-fast and will fade over time unless stabilized or protected. I'm wondering, maybe it's because I didn't stabilize my pokeberry ink. Maybe that's
Yeah.
why I fade, but maybe I'll have to try that. This
Mhm.
quality can be seen as either a limitation or an opportunity. In temporary or intention-only spellwork, a fading ink mirrors the ephemeral nature of desire and release. In long-term magical contracts for sigils, archival ink, such as India or iron gall, is required to preserve the spell's charge over time. What unites all of these inks, from ancient soot and vine ash to red hibiscus and invisible lemon juice, is the transmutation of intent into form. Ink, like magic, is a way of fixing energy into matter, of binding thought into symbol, and of calling the unseen into visibility. Whether drawn with a quill made from hollow bird bone or a modern dip pen, magical ink is a legacy of practical art and spiritual alchemy, the bridge between the voice of the practitioner and the silence of the unseen. Iron gall, also known as common ink, standard ink, oak gall ink, or iron gall nut ink, is a purple, black, or brown black ink made from iron salts and tannic acids from vegetable sources. It was the standard ink formulation used in Europe for the 1400-year period between the 5th and 19th centuries, remained in widespread use until well into the 20th century, and is still sold today. Iron gall ink's story runs alongside the evolution of both written communication and magical tradition. For centuries, this deep, dark ink has carried words meant to endure, from the hands of medieval monks, copying sacred texts by candlelight, to the alchemists and witches who scrawled their formulas, sigils, and secrets. Its recipe, deceptively simple yet alchemically rich, tannin-filled oak galls married to the mineral strength of iron sulfate, yields an ink that's as physically unyielding as it is spiritually charged. The earliest recipes for oak gall ink, they come from Pliny the Elder and are vague at best. Many famous and important manuscripts have been written using ferrous oak gall ink, including the Codex Sinaiticus, the oldest, most complete Bible currently known to exist, thought to be written in the middle of the 4th century. That's a long-ass time ago.
Oh my god.
Due to the ease of making iron gall ink and its quality of permanence and water resistance, this ink became the favored one for scribes in the European corridor as well as around the Mediterranean Sea. Surviving manuscripts from the Middle Ages as well as the Renaissance bear this out, as the vast majority are written using iron gall ink, the balance being written using lamp black or carbon black inks. Many drawings by Leonardo da Vinci were made with iron gall ink. Laws were enacted in Great Britain and France specifying the content of iron gall ink for all royal and legal records to ensure permanence in this time period as well. The popularity of iron gall ink traveled around the world during the colonization period and beyond. The United States Postal Service had its own official recipe that was to be used in all post office branches for the use of their customers. It was not until the invention of chemically produced inks and writing fluids in the latter half of the 20th century that iron gall ink fell from common use. Today, we'll walk you step by step through the process of making your own iron gall ink, complete with a ritual to weave in magical intent. Whether you've been practicing for years or just starting out, this is a craft that connects you to the lineage of scribes and spellcrafters. And in making it, you're not only creating a tool, you're joining a tradition. So it has a very storied past, right? The history of iron gall ink reaches back to the medieval period, when it was the lifeblood of the scriptorium. Monks favored it for its permanence, carefully shaping each letter in Bibles, liturgical works, and illuminated manuscripts. Scholars used it for treatises and discoveries meant to survive centuries. Its indelibility made it indispensable. Once it bit into the fibers of parchment or paper, it became part of them. Magicians, too, valued this permanence. Spells, talismans, and grimoires written in iron gall ink carry the assurance that the work would not fade. The recipe's transformation: a plant gall and a metal salt fusing into a rich black, mirrored alchemy itself, base materials becoming something enduring more than the sum of their parts. As the ink aged, it darkened, its hold on the page tightening. Symbolically, that slow deepening hue echoed the lasting influence of the words it carried. It was both practical and mystical, an everyday tool infused with the principles of transformation, endurance, and will. Literal practical magic.
Yeah. Yep.
Yes, blending the practical and the mystical. As far as magical application and magical practice, iron gall ink serves as more than a writing medium. It's an amplifier. The oak lends grounding, strength, and protection. The iron brings resilience, courage, and a shield against harm. And together, they fortify the written word. In spells and incantations, writing words of power with this ink, it anchors them, and the permanence reinforces that ongoing effect of the spell. In talismans and sigils, its deep black makes symbols bold and lasting, enhancing their ability to hold and direct energy. In dream and divination, it's perfect for journals meant to last a lifetime, preserving visions and readings without fear of fading. Seals and protection marks. I guess, like, would protection marks be like, I don't know, the Seal of Solomon or something like that? Is that what it means?
That
Okay.
makes sense.
Yes, so seals and protection marks adds both symbolic and material strength to warding symbols, boosting their resilience. And the beauty of iron gall ink is that once your intent is set on the page, it stays there. It's active and visible and potent. Unless it's invisible ink, right?
Right.
And then it's going away and you're not be able to not see it until you put lemon juice back on it or something. I don't know.
Right.
So the ingredients and their powers. So first talking about gall nuts, formed when certain wasps lay eggs in oak trees. Gall nuts are packed with tannins. Magically, they inherit the oak's steadfastness, endurance, and protective energy, and they ground the work, giving it staying power. Iron sulfate is a compound tied to the planet Mars and its association with strength, defense, and action. It's historically linked to protection from harm, and it infuses the ink with bold, unyielding energy. Then we have gum arabic, a natural resin that binds pigment and water into a smooth flow. Magically, it represents unity and cohesion, ensuring that all elements of your ink and your intention work together seamlessly. And when combined, these ingredients create an ink charged with endurance, resilience, and unity, making it a formidable ally in any magical working. Now that we've given you kind of like the history and the ingredients and what their powers are good for, we're going to give you a little ritual on how you can make your own iron gall ink. Crafting iron gall ink can be as sacred as the spells it will later inscribe. So here's how to turn the process into a ritual. First, you're going to prepare your space, light a white candle, burn frankincense or sandalwood, or any kind of resin that you have on hand, center yourself, declare the space sacred and dedicated to creation. Next, you're going to crush your gall nuts, use a mortar and pestle, grinding them into a coarse powder. And as you work, say, "From the strength of oak and iron's might, by ancient magic and moonlight night, ink of power, dark and true, I create with wisdom's view." And let this be a grounding meditation, connecting you to the oak's energy. Then you're going to simmer the gall nuts. Add them to boiling distilled water, reduce to a simmer for an hour, stirring occasionally. Visualize the water absorbing the oak's strength and protection. Next, you're going to add the iron sulfate. Strain the liquid, then stir in iron sulfate while chanting, "Iron's essence, strength impart, bind this ink with ancient art. Dark and potent, pure and bold, magic story now unfolds." And now watch the color deepen as the transformation occurs. And that's like kind of alchemy in and of itself, just watching that process unfold right before your very eyes. That's like magic right there, right?
Yeah, that's pretty dope.
I must say, when I did my butterfly pea flower lemonade for my solstice thing, I felt magical as fuck watching it change color. I was like, I did that.
Yes, you did.
And then you get to drink it and experience that magic, you know?
I love it.
Yeah.
Cool.
So next, number 5, incorporate gum arabic. And so you're going to stir this in slowly, letting it bind all elements into one. See it as that magical unifier, blending the energies into harmony. And now you're going to empower the ink. Hold the jar between your hands and close your eyes. Envision the ink glowing with power and ready to serve your will. And now whisper, "Ink of shadows, ink of light, by my will empowered this night. Serve me well in spell and rite, so mote it be by sacred right." Seal the jar and store it in a cool, dark place until you're ready to use it. Iron gall ink's magic is in both its composition and its history. It is ink as a pact between you, the materials, and the page, and your intention, right? Every spell, every sigil, every protective seal written with it carries the weight of centuries and the unshakable bond of oak and iron. To use it is to join a lineage of scribes and witches and alchemists who knew that some words must never fade. Ensure you're in a well-ventilated place when you're making and using ink. Wear gloves and protective eyewear when handling the ingredients, especially ferrous sulfate.
A lot of this is courtesy of the magicmojo.com. Like all of the rest of these recipes and the information about inks, go there for anything you want to know about inks.
Right. So while a very effective ink, the formula for the iron gall was less than ideal because iron gall ink is acidic, and depending on the writing surface being used, iron gall ink can have unsightly, quote, ghost writing on the obverse face of the writing surface, most commonly parchment or paper. Ultimately, it may eat holes through the surface it was on, and this is accelerated by high temperatures and humidity. However, some manuscripts written with it, such as the Book of Magical Charms, have survived hundreds of years without it getting damaged or damaging the paper on which it was used. You know, we are seeing a waning of its use. The permanence and water resistance of the iron and gall nut formula made it the standard writing ink in Europe for over 1400 years, and in America and after European colonization. Its use and production started to decline only in the 20th century when other waterproof formulas better suited for writing on paper became available. Today, iron gall ink is manufactured by a small number of companies and used by fountain pen enthusiasts and artists, but has fewer administrative applications. So while it's more like a novelty now, you know, it's not really used for the
It's
everyday,
bougie.
right? It is bougie, right? Yeah, like if you have that fancy journal that you're afraid to write in with regular, like ugly ass ballpoint pen, use your fountain pen, get out your gall ink, you know?
Yeah.
Make it a special occasion and make it a whole thing. So yeah, while its use is waning globally, it is still required along with cloth by Jewish halakha for various religious documents such as a get, a ketubah, mezuzahs, and Torah scrolls. So it is, I guess it is still used in the Jewish faith for all of those religious texts.
Interesting.
It is interesting.
In addition to iron gall ink, there are several other magical inks, each with its own unique property and uses. These inks are crafted with specific intentions in mind, making them powerful tools in the arsenal of any practitioner. So, here are some other notable inks. Let's talk about dragon's blood ink, tapping into the ancient power of crimson resin. So, dragon's blood ink, cloaked in centuries of legend and occult lore, remains one of the most potent and revered materials in magical traditions. Sourced from the resin of the dragon's blood tree, most notably found in Socotra archipelago. Traditionally used in magical rites, it is renowned for amplifying spells related to strength, love, and protection, earning its place among the most trusted tools in a practitioner's arsenal. With its bold red pigment, dragon's blood ink is naturally aligned with the fire element, channeling energies of life force, power, and transformation. This makes it especially effective in rituals and spells demanding a surge of energy or reinforcement intent. Often used to scribe sigils, spells, and magical contracts, the ink is believed to magnify the forces behind the words, anchoring the practitioner's will in the physical world. In this exploration, we're going to journey through the historical and mystical significance of dragon's blood ink, examine its core magical properties, and provide a ritual-based recipe for your own crafting. Whether you're well-versed in magical arts or just beginning to dip your quill, understanding and applying this ancient ink can bring profound depth to your practice. So let's talk about the enigmatic history of dragon's blood ink. The story of dragon's blood ink winds through cultures and centuries, emerging from myth as a powerful reality in the hands of mystics and magicians. The ink takes its name from dragon's blood resin, a deep crimson substitute harvested from the fruits of several botanical sources, including the demon
drops,
Dracaena, and croton species. Its allure lies not only in its vibrant hues, but also in the mysteries and magical strengths it carries. So who used it? Historically, dragon's blood ink was a fixture among the magical texts and tools of witches, alchemists, and scribes. From medieval Europe sorcerers to Middle Eastern mystics and Eastern spiritualists, it serves a vital role in spellcasting and spiritual rites. These traditions turned to dragon's blood for its reputed ability to strengthen intent, ward off negative energies, and sanctify writings and symbols. So where was it popular? In Europe, particularly during the Middle Ages, dragon's blood ink appeared in grimoires and magical papyri, often used to craft charms and protective talismans. In the East, the resin was a staple in Ayurvedic medicine and ceremonial magic in India and China. As cross-cultural trade expanded, so too did the ink's magical reach. eventually making its way into spellbooks and rituals of countless traditions. So when did it gain this prominence? The earliest references to dragon's blood date back to the 1st century AD, but it gained particular momentum in magical ink formations during the medieval era. Alchemists and arcane scholars penned entire treatises on its power, documenting its use in rituals designed to protect, bind, and empower. The very name evoking dragons, symbols of raw elemental might and ancient wisdom, adds to the ink's mystical gravitas. It's this blend of folklore and function that continues to inspire modern practitioners to reach for dragon's blood when they require magic with serious weight behind it. Today, the ink is embraced by contemporary witches, ceremonial magicians, and spiritual artisans alike. With its potent symbolism and enduring historical roots, dragon's blood ink serves as a timeless conduit, bridging the ancestral knowledge of the past with the spellwork of today. So let's talk about the power and uses of the dragon's blood ink. I almost rolled that R hard. Dragon's blood ink.
Dragon's blood?
Far more than a mere writing fluid, dragon's blood ink operates as an energetic amplifier, channeling the practitioner's will with clarity and force. Its rich, blood-red tone is a visual metaphor for vitality and intensity, echoing the passions and protections that often define magical work. So here are some common uses. Dragon's blood ink is especially prized for shielding magic. When used to write protective sigils, wards, or amulets, it's believed to create a metaphysical barrier against dark forces and spiritual intrusion. These protections can be carried on one's person, placed in a home, or integrated into magical circles or ritual tools. It's good for love spells. With its fiery red hue tied to matters of the heart and sensual desire, this ink is a favored choice for love magic. Whether your goal is to attract romance, deepen emotional bonds, or mend a fractured relationship, dragon's blood ink can strengthen your spell's emotional resonance and lasting impact. It can be used for empowerment and manifestation. In rituals for courage, self-confidence, or overcoming personal blocks, dragon's blood ink plays a powerful role. Writing affirmations, goals, or intentions with this ink reinforces the energy behind the words, lending them not only clarity, but staying power. Beyond these, the ink is also used for healing, especially spiritual or emotional wounds. Its association with strength and regeneration make it ideal for spell work aimed at recovery, inner resilience, and transformative growth. Ultimately, dragon's blood ink doesn't just mark the page, it infuses it with purpose, making each inscription a spell in its own right. The strength of dragon's blood ink stems from the mystic and botanical heritage of its core ingredient, the resin of the dragon tree, particularly Dracaena cinnabari, which we just talked about.
Yeah.
This species, native to Socotra, is both rare and revered. Its sap, a living echo of mythical battles and ancient vitality. Local legend describes the dragon tree as born from slain dragons, their blood seeping into the earth and crystallizing into the vivid red resin. Whether myth or metaphor, this tale lends the tree and the ink its formidable aura. The dragon tree's ability to survive in barren, arid landscapes adds to the symbolism. As such, the ink becomes not only a channel for mystical power, but also a symbol of endurance, survival, and unyielding strength. Practitioners believe that using the ink, they call forth the dragon's elemental ferocity and the tree's grounding presence, two forces that, when united in magical work, provide unmatched potency. So some ritualistic significance. Applying dragon's blood ink is not simply a mechanical act, it is a ritual in and of itself. Each motion of the quill becomes a spell. Every word a vessel of intention, every drop a charged purpose. In many magical traditions, the act of writing is sacred. When performed with dragon's blood ink, the sacred act becomes supercharged, merging the physical world with metaphysical intent. The ink binds power to paper, turning incantations and symbols into conduits for will and change. Time and ritual preparation further heighten its effectiveness. Some practitioners use it only during certain lunar phases, planetary hours, and astrologically significant days. Incantations may be spoken as each line is written, solidifying intent and aligning practitioner and tool in purpose. In this way, the ink transforms writing from an act of expression into one of manifestation, bridging intention and reality with fire-imbued clarity. So here's a little ritual for crafting dragon's blood ink. Crafting your own dragon's blood ink is not just an alchemical task, it's a sacred ritual aligning the maker with ancient energies of fire, transformation, and intention. So the prep time is about 30 minutes. The spell time is about 2 days, charge for about 30 minutes. What you'll need is a mortar and pestle, To powder the resin, glass jar with a lid for steeping, fine strainer or cheesecloth, an ink bottle, and a red candle, symbolizing fire and the dragon essence. Your ingredients are 1 tablespoon of finely powdered dragon's blood resin, 2 tablespoons alcohol, denatured or isopropyl, 2 drops of frankincense oil for purification, and 2 drops of cinnamon oil to accelerate your spell work. So, prepare your space, cleanse your area with your incense or sage, light your red candle to evoke fire energy and dragon symbolism. Using your mortar and pestle, then grind down your powder. Powder the resin while repeating, resin of power, heart of the dragon, lend your protection and strength to my creations. Then you're going to want to mix and steep. Combine the resin and alcohol in a jar, seal and shake it well. Let it sit in a dark place for 24 to 48 hours, shaking occasionally while focusing on your intent. Then you're going to want to strain it. Once it's steeped, strain through the cheesecloth into a clean container, removing any remaining solids. Then you're going to want to add your essential oils, and while you're adding your frankincense and cinnamon, you can stir that clockwise, chanting, "Oils of ancient trees, bless this ink with your purifying energies and speed." Next, charge your ink. Hold the ink near the candle's flame and speak, because it has alcohol in it. By dragon's flame, by the resin's might, charge this ink with deep insight, protection, love, power anew, imbue these drops with strength so true. And then you're going to want to store it. Pour it into an ink bottle and store in a cool, dark place. Use it for your sigils, your spells, your ritual inscriptions when you need it. So for potency, it's ideal for protection, love, and empowerment spells, and feel free to substitute the oils to match your specific spell intent. Dragon's Blood ink represents the intersection of ancient myth and modern magic. Its uses extend far beyond aesthetic, offering practitioners a direct connection to traditions of power, protection, and passion. Crafting your own ink allows you to imbue it with your intention, adding a deeply personal resonance to your spellwork. Whether your focus is warding off harm, drawing love into your life, or empowering your personal transformation, this crimson ink can serve as a trusty ally, one that speaks across time, between the lines, and into the realm of spirit.
All right, so we're going to get into the dove's blood ink now, right? And I'm wondering if the aunts, I'm sure they use dove blood ink in their magic. I mean,
Yeah.
I would not imagine that they stab those doves for love spells and not make every use of that carcass.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, otherwise it'd be a waste. You know, so I'm
Exactly.
sure they use the blood in some other aspect, and what better way than using some
Spell work. Yeah.
Exactly. So dove's blood ink is a sacred and time-honored magical substance, long revered for its associations with peace, purity, and heartfelt intention. Used across cultures and traditions, this mystical ink acts as a channel through which harmony and love are invited into spellwork. Whether your aim is to nurture emotional healing, restore tranquility, or amplify the spiritual power of written intentions, dove's blood ink offers a gentle yet potent force for transformation. Crafted with symbolic ingredients known for their purifying and harmonizing qualities, dove's blood ink is far more than a tool. It's a spiritual ally. Rooted in the dove's ancient role as a symbol of peace and divine love, this ink is favored for rituals focused on reconciliation, healing, and serenity. The origins of dove's blood ink span centuries of magical tradition, steeped in sacred symbology and esoteric practice. From ancient mythologies to medieval spellcraft, this ink has been a conduit for invoking peace, love, and divine connection. In classical mythology, the dove was a sacred animal of the goddess Aphrodite, or Venus, the embodiment of love and beauty. Practitioners seeking her blessings would use dove's blood ink in love spells and prayers, believing it carried the goddess's energy, enhancing their intentions for affection, compassion, and unity. During the Middle Ages and Renaissance, grimoires and magical texts often included formulas for dove's blood ink, recognizing its power to heal rifts, purify energies, and call in loving forces. It was used by witches and mystics to craft talismans, inscribed sigils, and draft amulets focused on peace and reconciliation. Beyond love magic, the ink was embraced for purification and spiritual clarity. Medieval scribes sometimes used it to pen sacred writings, channeling the divine symbolism of the dove to empower their work. The ink's association with divine messages and spiritual purity made it ideal for cleansing rituals and prayers for protection. Today, dove's blood ink continues to hold a revered place in contemporary magical practice. It serves not only as a tool for ritual, but as a symbol of higher ideas: peace, grace, forgiveness, and healing. Whether used for traditional spells or personal affirmations, the ink brings with it centuries of reverence and spiritual depth. Okay, so it looks like It's not actual dove's blood. It's white wine or rose water, dragon's blood resin, honey, rose essential oil, and then red food coloring. So this is a substitution. This is not actual dove's blood. I just want to make that very clear.
Yes.
We are not sacrificing animals to make blood ink.
Yes.
But I was saying before, the aunts probably would have, because the aunts. That's not something we would do. I want to make that
good
clear.
Checking in. Yeah, good.
Yeah, I just want to make that clear. All right, so moving on to the power and uses of dove's blood ink. It's prized for its ability to transform written words into vessels of spiritual intent, with roots in both symbolic tradition and magical efficacy. Its uses are wide-ranging and deeply resonant. So first, it's used to amplify intentions. Whether writing a love charm or spell for harmony, or a journal entry for healing, the ink channels your desires with clarity and vibrational strength. The sacred nature of its ingredients aligns your written words with higher spiritual frequencies. It's very effective in magic aimed at drawing in love, rekindling intimacy, or healing wounds of the heart. Use it to write names on pink candles, draft heartfelt petitions, or create binding love sigils. Its energy invites genuine connection and softens emotional barriers. Incorporate dove's blood ink into blessings for your home or your workspace. Write sigils for peace, inscribe protections and love charms, or craft petitions to restore calm after discord. The ink's gentle resonance helps dispel negativity and foster serenity. I know I could use me some of that after July 2025.
Well, now you know how to make it.
Now I know how to make it. Yeah, it might be worth doing a little peace petition.
Yeah, I love that.
Next, it's good for enhancing the written word. In magical traditions, the written word is a spell in and of itself. When penned with dove's blood ink, each letter becomes imbued with spiritual weight. The ink doesn't just express your intention, it broadcasts it and anchors it in purity and love. It's great for mending fractured relationships. This ink becomes a powerful ally. Whether you're casting a forgiveness spell or writing a sincere apology, dove's blood ink infuses your work with compassion and encourages mutual understanding and emotional healing. You can use it for spiritual growth and purity. Its association with purity extends to personal development. Use this ink for affirmations, journaling, or spiritual petitions. It helps purify the mind, center the heart, and supports a clear channel to divine guidance. And then lastly, you can use it in formal rituals or ceremonies. In ceremonial magic, use dove's blood ink to inscribe prayers, names, or symbols on ritual tools, parchment, or candles. Its sacred associations enhance spiritual alignment and reinforce your dedication to peaceful, loving intentions. This ink is not merely symbolic. It does carry tangible magical attributes that make it especially effective in transformative spell work. It's great for love and compassion, ideal for romantic and emotional healing spells. Its frequency attracts sincere affection and deepens emotional bonds. It's great for purity and spiritual clarity. It cleanses mental clutter and a psychic residue, supports focused journaling and meditative writing. It's great for reconciliation. It softens tension, encourages dialogue, and fosters renewed understanding between people. So, I guess to get a communication going, if you're having trouble communicating with somebody, or you keep butting heads and having like these weird rifts and not sure why you're having these disagreements and things.
This could be your Mercury retrograde go-to.
Yes, perfect.
Yeah.
It's great for peace and harmony. It promotes balance in the home and within the practitioner. Use it for domestic peace, inner calm, and resolution spells. And then use it for amplification of intent. It enhances any written spell, sigil, or charm by aligning it with divine, harmonious energies. The dove across cultures symbolizes divine grace, purity, and peace. Writing with dove's blood inks, it sanctifies your work, aligning it with these elevated energies and ensuring that the spell is grounded in compassion and clarity. Every stroke with this ink deepens the focus and amplifies the ritual and the power of it. Writing chants, names, or prayers during ceremonies binds the practitioner's will to the ink's natural harmonizing properties. It consecrates writings, sacred texts, spells, affirmations, or blessings written in dove's blood ink becomes powerful talismans in and of themselves. They may be burned, buried, or kept as part of an altar, serving as lasting embodiments of your ritual intent. They are great for empowering magical tools. Inscribing wands, candles, or parchment with this ink can imbue magical tools with a lasting vibration of peace and love. It supports inner transformation and helps channel intentions that may otherwise be difficult to express. And then lastly, it's great for lunar rituals. Align your work with the lunar cycle by writing intentions during the new moon or releasing burdens under the full moon. This ink enhances the reflective, emotional nature of moon work or shadow work, right? Bringing clarity and resolution. So here is a ritual recipe for peace, love, and purity, and how to craft your own dove's blood ink. The prep time is about 10 minutes. Spell time is about 15 minutes. It does take a while to cool, though. You want to give it about 2 hours to cool completely. So all in all, 2 hours and 25 minutes, give or take. You're going to need a small saucepan, a stirring spoon, some measuring spoons and cups, a glass bottle for your ink, and a funnel if you want to get your ink into the bottle more easily. You're going to need 1 cup of white wine or rose water, 1 tablespoon of dragon's blood resin, 1 teaspoon of honey, 2 drops rose essential oil, and you can add some red food coloring if you want to give it that blood appeal or look to it. But just to make clear, this is not real dove's blood. Instructions: you want to heat the liquid. You can warm your white wine or rose water gently over low heat and whisper, "By the light of peace and love, I warm this elixir from above. Purity and harmony flow. In this ink, let magic grow." Next, add your resin. Stir in your dragon's blood until it's dissolved and chant, "With dragon's blood, strong and true, I call forth power from old and new. Dissolve and blend, unite as one, under moon and sun, the spell's begun." Then add your honey. Incorporate your honey slowly while saying, "Sweetness of honey, pure and bright, blend your essence with loving light. Bind this ink with gentle power to bring forth peace in every hour." Then add your rose oil and stir in that while saying, "Rose of love, essence divine. Infuse this ink with your sacred sign. Peace and purity, strong and clear, in every word may it appear." And now, if you want to color the ink, which is completely optional, add your red food coloring as desired and say, "Color of love, vibrant and bold, in this ink your power unfold. Red as the heart, pure and bright, bring forth love with all your might." Then cool and charge your ink. This is allowed to cool for 20 minutes and whisper, "As this ink cools, its power grows, peace and love in its flow. By my will, so mote it be, this ink is charged with harmony." Then bottle and seal. Pour your ink into a glass bottle and declare, "Into this bottle, magic I pour, peace and love forevermore. Sacred ink, your task is clear. Bring forth blessings far and near." For storage, keep it in a cool, dark place. And for application, you can use it with a quill, brush, or dip pen. Customization, you can adjust ingredients to align with specific intentions. You can change this around however you want. And then lastly, just handle with reverence, because your ink is sacred, and be mindful of its intention, like why you made the ink in the first place, and when also you're writing with it, also be mindful of its intention. So just some final thoughts about the dove's blood ink. It's more than a magical substance. It's a vessel for divine intention, carrying centuries of wisdom and spiritual resonance. With each use, it infuses your work with harmony, love, and sacred power. Whether crafting rituals for healing, reconciliation, spiritual growth, or romantic connection, dove's blood ink amplifies your magic with grace and gentleness. By understanding its properties and crafting it with care, you invite peace not just into your spells, but into your life. And may your words be pure, your intentions true, and your magic filled with blessings of the dove. And don't use it for the 10.
And don't use real doves.
Don't use real doves either. Yeah.
Let's talk about some bat's blood ink. Now, I don't think this is real bat's blood. I hope. Maybe it is. We're going to find out. Just like with the dove's blood, it could be a mixture of some other things.
Right.
So bat's blood ink is a legendary component of occult tradition, an enigmatic. What is this enigmatic? GPT.
Enigmatic man.
Enigmatic and transformative substance used to channel the shadowy wisdom of the night. Despite its name, the ink contains no actual bat's blood. Okay, good.
Okay.
Rather, it draws upon the symbolic essence of the bat as a creature of intuition, darkness, and rebirth. Crafted from powerful botanicals and ritual ingredients, the ink has long been treasured by witches, alchemists, and ceremonial magicians for its ability to intensify spell work, empower sigils, and mark magical objects with deliverance and magical force. Creating bat's blood ink is not merely an act of preparation, it is an alchemical rite. The ingredients are carefully chosen for their deep magical correspondences. Dragon's blood resin for strength, black walnut hulls for banishing, and myrrh for spiritual depth. As these are ground, steeped, and bound together, the ink becomes infused with the practitioner's intent, transformed into a vessel of power. This meditative process roots the maker in the ancient tradition of shadow work and spellcraft. Once completed, bat's blood ink can be used in a wide variety of magical applications, from inscribing protective talismans and drawing binding sigils to dressing candles and consecrating ritual tools. This crimson ink is a vivid and versatile ally. Its bold hue and symbolic resonance make it a potent medium for channeling will and working within liminal spaces, the unseen edges of magic where transformation occurs. Bat's blood ink carries with it a long lineage of mystery, myth, and magical purpose. While modern versions are crafted from symbolic materials, the name itself evokes primal imagery, nocturnal rites, moonlit spellcraft, and the secrets whispered in the twilight. In magical symbolism, bats are associated with the unseen. They navigate darkness with intuition and echolocation, sensing what others cannot. Across cultures, they have been seen as guides between worlds, creatures of transformation, death, and rebirth. Their nocturnal nature links them to shadow work, making bat's blood ink ideal for spells involving transformation, protection, and psychic sight. Though not frequently mentioned by name in ancient grimoires, the symbolic components of bat's blood ink, resins like dragon's blood and herbs like black walnut, have been used for centuries. These ingredients were staples of alchemical texts and witchcraft recipes from the medieval to Renaissance periods, prized for their potent energetic properties. In folklore, bats have been protectors of sacred spaces and carriers of ancient wisdom. In some traditions, they are believed to guard against malevolent spirits or act as omens of hidden knowledge. The ink that bears their name inherits its legacy, allowing practitioners to work with forces that transcend the veil of ordinary perception. In this way, bat's blood ink is not simply a tool for writing, it's a medium of connection between the visible and invisible, and the conscious and instinctive. It opens the door to deeper intuition and sharper magical focus, especially in workings that engage the shadow side of the psyche. So the powers and uses of bat's blood ink. Rich in symbolism and vibrational energy, bat's blood ink serves as a multifaceted magical tool, ideal for inscribing spells, drawing symbols, and marking ritual space with intentional power. Whether scripting a banishing charm or carving out a psychic boundary, this ink empowers the text to act as a vessel for transformation. Its core ingredients, particularly the dragon's blood and black walnut hull, make bat's blood ink a formidable tool in warding rituals, drawing protective glyphs on doors, inscribe sigils on candles, or write wards to shield your home from negativity. Associated with the energy of the bat, the ink is especially powerful for rituals of personal transformation. Use it during shadow work to write down fears, old patterns, or desires for change. The ink becomes a container for the subconscious, holding, revealing, and releasing. Bat's blood ink can be used in rituals that enhance clairvoyance or intuitive insight. It is ideal for scripting dream intentions, anointing divination tools, or drawing sigils that amplify psychic awareness. And you can use it for binding and sealing spells as well. The ink's intense red color and energetic density make it perfect for spells involving binding, whether to secure an outcome, reinforce an oath, or contain a disruptive force. Used with respect and clear intent, and it can serve as a magical sealant for serious workings. So the magical properties that go along with this, we have that dragon's blood resin, the added power of protection and energetic weight to spells, myrrh that deepens the spiritual connection, supports emotional healing, and provides a sacred anchor, the black walnut hull powder, traditionally used for banishing, cutting cords, and warding off interference. If you're going to work with black walnut, wear gloves. It will stain like anything else, right? Red wine, symbolizing vitality, blood, sacrifice, and transformative power. Then you're going to have some distilled water, which acts as a spiritual conductor and cleansing agent. Gum arabic, again, a natural binder that stabilizes the mixture and connects the magical components. You can use some clove essential oil, adding protection, warmth, and enhancing magical potency. And you can choose to add some red food coloring if you'd like, which enhances the visual depth of the ink, giving it a more bold and blood-like hue.
Yo, clove essential oil is my favorite.
Is it?
So fucking good. It's just like, it's got like a just like a spiciness to it. But
it's like a holiday
yeah.
warmth.
Yeah, it's like herby spicy. I love it. It's kind of like cinnamon, but like cinnamon's close cousin. I don't know how to explain it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like, so what can you use clove essential oil for? Like, does doTERRA
Medicinally?
have anything for that?
They do, yeah. Clove is actually really good for teeth and gum health. So you take a little bit of oil, you rub it right on your gums if you have a toothache.
Is it kind of numbing?
Yeah, a little bit.
Cool.
Yeah. You could even chew like on like a clove stick. They have those little, clove sticks. But yeah, let me some clove.
Cool. I didn't know that. So bat's blood ink is more than a spell ingredient. It's a vessel for intention, of course, and the very act of making it becomes that ritual, blending the physical and spiritual into a single charged substance. So, alchemical creations as spell work. As you grind your herbs, simmer ingredients, and stir with intention, this process mirrors the transformation magic often aims to achieve, turning raw material into focused power. So there's the sacred uses in spellcasting. Use the ink to mark parchment, candles, talismans, or ritual tools. Each mark becomes a line of power imbued with the energy of darkness, insight, and transformation. Whether used in solitary working or group rituals, the ink holds and transmits your purpose. That shadow work and journaling. Again, write affirmations, confessions, or truths you'd rather leave in the dark, then burn or bury them as part of a release ritual. The bat's essence supports this inward journey, encouraging deep excavation and emotional alchemy. Protective wardings inscribing these sigils around sacred spaces or doorways to guard against the spiritual interference. The combination of ingredients makes the ink ideal for magical defense, anchoring boundaries in both seen and unseen realms. Use it to sign magical pacts, personal oaths, or binding rituals. You could use it as your hand fasting signature and your marriage license if you want.
Yeah.
The ink's intensity adds gravity to your words, ensuring that they are sealed with purpose and spirit. So
Could you imagine showing up to like a house closing with like your realtor, like, you know how you have to sign that stack of paperwork, and just showing up with like your own quill pen and ink, like, hold on, let me get out my special ink.
I love that.
Big ass quill signing your fucking deed to your house.
I love that. That's so funny.
Why not? Like, you know,
be extra.
Why not be extra about it? Like, that's a big occasion, buying a house or a car or anything.
Yeah.
Break out your quill pen. Do it. I dare you.
So the bat's blood ink recipe we have for you for power and transformation takes about 10 minutes. The spell can be about 30 minutes. The infusion time takes about 2 hours, so in total 2 hours 40. What you'll need is a small saucepan, mortar and pestle, stirring spoon, fine mesh strainer or cheesecloth, measuring cups and spoons, glass bottle or jar for storage. So you'll need 1 teaspoon of dragon's blood resin, 1 teaspoon of myrrh, 1 teaspoon black walnut hull powder, half a cup of red wine, half a cup of distilled water, half a teaspoon of gum arabic, 3 drops of clove essential oil, or whatever oil is calling to you, and optionally you can use 2 drops of food coloring. So when you're grinding and preparing this, set up your space, gather your materials, grind the resin, myrrh, black walnut powder in your mortar and pestle, and as you grind you can say, by the power of the ancient ways, I call upon the spirit's gaze. Infuse this ink with magic bright to guide my hand with purest might. In your saucepan then, combine the red wine and distilled water. Add your ground powders, simmer gently over low heat while stirring clockwise. You can chant, with fire's warmth and water's grace, I blend these gifts from nature's space. Let this ink be charged with might to serve my will both day and night. Then you're going to stir in your gum arabic until it's fully dissolved. Then add your clove oil and your food coloring. In tone you can chant, bound and sealed, this ink shall be a tool of magic, strong and free, with clove and resin, powers flow. Into this ink my magic grows. And then you're going to remove it from your heat, let the mixture rest and cool for at least 2 hours. Once it's cooled, you can strain it through the mesh cheesecloth into the jar, and you can say, from the cauldron to the jar, this ink will carry power far. With pure intent and heart's true aim, my magic flows and finds its name. And then just keep it in a cool, dark place. Shake it before use. Ideal for quills, dip pens, and magical inscriptions. So some notes here. Intent is key. Focus on your magical goal while crafting. Your energy anchors the ink. You can use substitutions, like use herbs that align with whatever you're working with. You know, if you can't find the exact ingredients. Make sure you're handling this safely. It's not intended for skin application or ingestion. And uses are for writing the spells, drawing sigils, anointing tools, and sealing the rituals. So bat's blood ink is more than a substance. It's a channel. It speaks the language of shadow and transformation, of deep magic and unseen truths through the creation and use. You're not just practicing spellcraft, you're engaging in an ancient dance of intuition, will, and symbolic power. Whether inscribing spells, sealing bindings, or diving into your shadow self, this ink will serve as a vessel for potent, purposeful magic. Embrace its energy and let your words fly like the bat, silent, focused, and unerring in the dark.
Yeah, we're gonna move on to myrrh now, and sanctity ink. What does that mean? Unlocking the divine secrets of the Yaya sisterhood.
Good movie.
And insight, and it's really good movie. Were there 2 of those? I think there were a couple of those. So step into the sacred current where resin, ritual, and written word converge. At the heart of this tradition lies the ancient and mystical substance known as myrrh, resin of the commiphora tree, long venerated for its sanctifying power. When transformed into ink, myrrh becomes not just a material for writing, but a spiritual conduit, a sacred elixir capable of bridging the divide between the mundane and the divine. Myrrh's sanctity, ink, is more than a recipe. It is a rite of passage for the modern scribe of the esoteric. Its uses range from protective inscriptions and banishing sigils to journaling sacred truths and scripting meditations. Every line written with this ink carries not only the words of the practitioner, but also the ancient energies of purification, spiritual clarity, and divine reverence. The story of myrrh spans millennia, from the arid deserts of North Africa and the Middle East to the sacred halls of ancient temples. Myrrh has been revered as both a spiritual and medicinal treasure. The Egyptians prized myrrh for its preservative and purifying properties, using it in the embalming process to prepare bodies for the afterlife. This act, both practical and sacred, reflected myrrh's power to preserve not only the body, but the soul's passage through spiritual realms. The Greeks and Romans, too, held myrrh in deep esteem. It was burned in sacred temples, blended into perfumes, and offered to the gods as a fragrant channel between the divine and mortal realms. Its smoke was used to elevate prayers and consecrate space, making it essential in rites of reverence and purification. Its presence in the sacred texts of Christianity and Islam further underscores its significance. Myrrh was one of the 3 gifts brought to the Christ child by the Magi, a symbol of sacrifice, sanctity, and divine purpose. Later, it was used again in preparing the body of Christ for burial. What did he staunch his wounds with? Verbena? Remember?
Was it verbena?
I think it was verbena.
Staunched.
These references cement myrrh as a resin, not just of ritual, but of mystery, transformation, and grace. Myrrh is a resin of profound power. It is known primarily for protection. It wards off malevolent energy and forms a spiritual shield around people, places, or objects. It's used to cleanse ritual tools, sacred spaces, or the energy body itself, so purification. It's used for spiritual elevation. Myrrh helps practitioners open gateways to higher consciousness, facilitating deeper meditative and trance states. Divine connection, revered across faiths and paths. Myrrh bridges the gap between human and divine realms, assisting in prayer, offerings, and ceremonial magic. When burned, the smoke of myrrh is grounding yet transcendental. When used in oil, it anoints and blesses, and when turned into ink, it becomes a record of spiritual authority, a way of giving form to unseen power. It is especially valuable for those engaging in divination, shadow work, spiritual journaling, and rites of transformation. The resin's deep, earthy aroma is said to anchor the soul while gently lifting the spirit. It calms the mind, clears spiritual debris, and facilitates inner alignment. For this reason, myrrh is often chosen by healers, mystics, and ceremonial scribes. So creating myrrh's sanctity ink is a sacred act of alchemy. It calls for reverence, focus, and intentionality. As you grind the resin and stir the ingredients, you are not merely making a pigment, you are invoking the divine, infusing spirit with matter. And so here's a little myrrh sanctity ink sacred recipe. A spiritual elixir to inscribe spells, sigils, sacred writings, and ceremonial petitions. Prep time is around 15 minutes. The spell takes about an hour, and the cooling time also takes about an hour. So all in all, you're looking at 2 hours and 15 minutes. So you might need like a little chunk of an afternoon to do this.
Mm-hmm.
This says difficulty level is expert. So if you're just dipping your toe in the jacuzzi, baby, maybe not try this one to start off with. This seems a little advanced.
Okay.
The purpose is for protection, purification, and divine connection. And you're going to need a mortar and pestle, like basically all the same, tools that we did for the last few that we talked about. And heat-proof glass container, small glass jar, or inkwell for storage. So what you're going to need is a tablespoon of high-quality myrrh resin, Commiphora myrrha is the scientific name, 1 cup of distilled water, 1 teaspoon of gum arabic powder, 1 teaspoon of lamp black or activated charcoal powder, and half a teaspoon of honey or vegetable glycerin, which is optional, but it's supposed to give it a smoother flow, I guess, a glide across the page, if you will. So, first you're going to grind the resin. Place your myrrh resin in the mortar and pestle, and as you grind it into a fine powder, recite, "Gift of the earth, essence divine, in this mixture your power align." Then you're going to simmer and steep. Transfer the powdered myrrh to the saucepan, add your distilled water and stir gently. Bring to a low simmer for 30 to 60 minutes, allowing the infusion to deepen. And while stirring, speak, by water's flow and myrrh's might, combine your strengths in this rite. In this brew, power steep, ready for secrets it will keep. And you're probably going to want to stir clockwise, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you're going to strain the liquid, remove the mixture from the heat, and let it cool slightly. Strain through a fine mesh or cheesecloth into a clean glass container, and as the liquid flows, say, from solid to liquid, the change begins, preparing the vessel for what lies within. Then add your binding and your color. While the infusion is still warm, stir in the gum arabic until fully dissolved and recite the following. Bond and bind, let nothing part, hold together as an art. Then add your lamp black or charcoal for depth and pigment, and then you say, with black as night, our intent is bound. In this ink, let wisdom be found. And then the next part is optional. This is to enhance viscosity. You can add honey or vegetable glycerin for its smoothness, and then whisper, with sweetness we merge, flow freely and true, like the sacred words will write with you. I mean, even if you don't use it for its smoothness, for writing, you could just use the honey in general just to sweeten the recipe. Intention, exactly. And then stir all your ingredients slowly and completely, and finish with the affirmation. Elements combine, purpose be met, the elixir of the sacred scribe is set. And now you're going to transfer it into your inkwell and declare, in this ink our intention lies, ready for use under open skies. Now, before each use, shake it gently and say, awaken, ink of ancient lore, now we write as those before. I like how, before every use, you're kind of awakening the magic in the bottle.
I like that too. Wake up, baby, we're ready to work.
Yeah. So just add those little extra touches to add those little, magic to your spell work. So here's just some extra notes. Store in a sealed glass jar in a cool, dark place. Like all the other inks we've talked about today, shake well before use. Give it some test runs. Test it on your chosen parchment before formal use. And for spiritual writing, use a dip pen, brush, or quill. And it just feels fancy, It just gives that air of antiquity about it. Really, the point is that myrrh's resonance creates a spiritual bridge, strengthening your connection to the divine energies. So some final thoughts about myrrh's sanctity ink. It's more than an artistic or magical medium. It is a sacred substance rooted in centuries of spiritual tradition. With every drop, it carries the energy of ancient temples, sacred rites, and divine reverence. In creating and using this ink, you become part of that lineage, writing not only with your hand, but with your spirit. And whether you're crafting sacred sigils, scripting devotions, or journaling your innermost truths, this ink invites you to engage with magic at its most sacred level. And align your intention, honor the process, and let your words carry the fragrance of sanctity across the threshold between worlds. And some of that was from themagicmojo.com. And let's dive back into lamp black for a second. So there's a little bit of a mystery about the lamp black ink. Have you heard about this?
No.
So lamp black ink, derived from the elemental source of fire, stands as an enigma within the realm of magical inks. With its profound, deep black color and its association with fire and transformation. As you dip your pen in lamp black ink, you are invoking the power of transformation, change, and revelation. The ink, as dark as the night, can help amplify your intentions, especially when used in spells and rituals that focus on these aspects. It can be particularly effective in banishment rituals, where its protective and purifying qualities are of utmost importance, and the inherent transformative nature of lamp black ink also makes it ideal for creating protective amulets, inscribing magical symbols or sigils, or penning entries into your grimoire or book of shadows. So this is saying lamp black is linked to secrets, mystery, and the unknown, and it is used in spells of divination and shadow work. The recommended writing tool is a brush or dip pen, and lamp black is suitable for spells involving shadow work, divination, and exploration of the unknown. It is also ideal for rituals of revelation and prophecy. It's believed that lamp black ink is attuned to the hidden and the mysterious, making it a potent tool in divination. Its unique energy aids in revealing hidden truths and unveiling the unseen, making it an excellent choice for scrying, tarot reading, or any other form of divination where clarity and revelation are sought. Probably also spirit writing might be cool if you tried spirit writing. My brother used to try that as kids. We used to go into the garage because that's where we thought was haunted.
Okay.
And one of us would just go in and the other one would wait outside. And
Oh,
my brother would do this all the time. He would like have like a session and it would like literally just be like chicken scratch.
yeah.
And we would try to like decipher it.
That's
And
fun.
that's
That's
what we did
fun.
before the internet.
Yeah.
So, yeah, try out some spirit writing with your inks, your magical inks. I'm sure that would be really cool. And in summary, lamp black is more than just an ink. It's a magical tool, a conduit for the transformative and revealing energies of fire. Lamp black is I guess one of the more mysterious of inks because it's so dark and I guess brooding, and you can
Black
use
as
it for that
night.
scrying. Yeah, exactly.
Sight.
I feel like the darker the better for scrying, right?
Oh
'Cause
yeah.
yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Paint it black, like that. What the fuck's the Rolling Stones said? They see a red door, but they want to paint it black.
Hey, paint it black. So, if you want to take a more scholastic approach to this topic, there are courses you can sign up for. One I stumbled across was from learn.thehouseoftwigs.com.
Oh.
It's going to be linked in here, but this course offers the instruction and process of making your own magical ink for your own magical uses and spellwork and sigil magic. The ink recipes are based on creating a custom Gall and India ink based on old recipes from medieval times.
Oh.
One in particular was meant to banish evil spirits. This course says that we take the base recipe and give room for you to change it as it suits your intention. This is not the only way to make your inks, but it is just one recipe. This instructor will talk about their experiences in the fine art world, the finishing world in custom cabinetry, and exploration of materials. They know a lot about materials, like barks and wood and different, woods you can use in resins. They'll also discuss what are the differences between a paint, including acrylic oil, tempera, and watercolor, dye, and ink. What are some traditional methods of using plant material or tannin-based dyes and inks? We, of course, have a compendium of recommended materials to work with, such as resins and plants, and we also discuss how to customize an extraction to use this as an extra magical layer. You will learn how to make a traditional gull ink and your own base material of your vitriol of Mars. Customizations are suggested for making this your own recipe. You'll also create your own recipe for an India ink from natural resin, gum arabic, pigment, herbal extractions, and essential oils. Queen Meb is our retail location in Portland, which offers purchasable kits to go with your course. You can buy them in tandem or by themselves. Access to this course is for a lifetime, and kits are single purchase, and they can be mailed. So they also list like the course content, material glossary of terms and historical uses, gull ink and variations, making the vitriol of Mars, making gull ink customizable, India ink with a modern twist, when things go wrong in labeling inks, and how to use your ink as well. And again, the site for this is learn.thehouseoftwigs.com.
Yeah, we're going to round this episode out with some superstitions and omens. They span from old European folklore to writerly good luck beliefs. So the first one is spilling ink. This is a bad omen in love. In the 18th and 19th century Europe, spilling ink on a love letter before sending it was thought to doom the romance. It's
like the black mark, like in Pirates of the Caribbean, the black spot.
Yeah. But then also it could mean good luck and money. So when bad luck in love, good luck and money.
Okay.
In some Eastern European traditions, spilling black ink accidentally on your desk was a sign of unexpected money would arrive.
Okay.
Do I have any ink around here I can just throw over? Just pour it all over my desk.
Oh man.
Oh, could use some of that. Mixed messages. In Victorian superstition, the direction of the spill mattered. So if the ink spilled toward you, it meant gain. If it spilled away from you, it meant loss.
Okay.
Kind of like a waxing and waning type deal, you know?
It was starting to sound a little bit like that magic 8-ball, like ask again. Like,
Yeah.
bad luck, mixed message.
Try again later. Yeah. And then blotting and smudges. Name blotted out. Okay, so accidentally blotting someone's name in a letter or ledger could mean that they would soon leave your life or pass away. Smudging across words. In Ottoman court culture, a smudge across a decree was considered a bad omen for the stability of the law or the ruler. And now let's talk about ink color. Changing ink color mid-writing. I've done this because have you ever been like writing and your pen dies and then you're like, fuck, I need to find another pen, but you can't find the same color and then you have to like continue in a different color.
What are you supposed to do?
I don't know, but I'm going to tell you what it means.
Okay.
So, seen as a spiritual interruption in folk magic, it meant an unseen presence had passed through your work.
That's cool. That's really cool.
Chills a little bit. And gold ink, in Persian mystical poetry, writing in gold ink was believed to attract blessings and abundance to the words themselves. Quill and ink pairings. Quill point breaking in an ink pot. This has also happened to me. A sign that the writer was attempting something unwise or cursed.
What were you working on?
I don't even know. I was probably in art school and I'm like, God damn it, why won't I was probably using like, dried out ink and it got stuck in the thing.
Oh no.
Broke off in the thing and then it's a whole fucking mess.
Oh no, cursed.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe that's why I'm like not making money as an artist.
I don't think that's it. I hope not.
Cursed. Okay, so the next one is left-handed dipping. In some English folk beliefs, dipping a quill into ink with your left hand invited gossip and false accusations. And then ink blots as prophecy. Accidental ink blots in some medieval scriptoriums. Accidental blots in a manuscript were interpreted as omens. Scribes sometimes preserved them and wrote marginal notes predicting future events.
You know what we didn't include was the Rorschach test.
I was just gonna say that.
Yeah, that's kind of like brain magic, in itself. Yeah. Well, there it is.
All right. Yeah, we mentioned it. That's good.
Yeah.
Rituals for luck is the next one. So the first words of the year. Some writers kept a tradition of writing their first words of the new year in red ink to invite vitality and good fortune. And then ink on the skin. A drop of ink on the skin while writing a petition to a spirit was believed to signify the spirit had, quote, touched you in acknowledgement.
I love that.
Interesting. Yeah. What if you're chewing on your pen and you accidentally get ink all over your mouth? What does that mean?
I don't know.
Because I've also done that.
The ghost's putting his finger into your mouth.
So literary ink quirks and preferences. And these are backed by sources because I asked ChatGPT to like compile me a list of, I guess, old scribes, alchemists, and witches or, poets, people who would use ink, what are their preferences? And it compiled me a list and I was like, is this factual? And then it was like, haha, just kidding, that wasn't factual. So I was like, can you give me sources? And then it did. So these ones are backed by sources. So Pablo Neruda, Chilean Nobel-winning poet, preferred writing in green ink because he believed that the color embodied hope, a meaningful choice that added a symbolic layer to his poetry. And then we have Virginia Woolf, who often used different color inks, greens, blues, and purples, when writing her drafts. These hues may have helped her shift tone or mood as she worked through ideas. Then we have Lewis Carroll. Similarly, Lewis Carroll had a taste for writing with purple ink, lending a whimsical or perhaps personal aesthetic flair for his correspondence and manuscripts. And then we have Charles Dickens, and he reportedly insisted on writing his works exclusively in blue ink, whether for readability, tradition, or personal preference. Blue was his ink of choice. Then we have John Steinbeck, and while not ink, John Steinbeck's writing tool choice speaks to his sensibility for how the text looks. He despised yellow pencils, preferring dark graphite pencils like the Palomino Blackwing that delivered rich, deep marks worthy of his prose.
Who's using a yellow pencil?
I don't fucking know.
Right? But that's so funny, though.
But that's like so random that ChatGPT decided to just throw a pencil one in here. It's like, we're not talking about pencil.
Who's this Palmetto Blackwing?
Who's this pencil
Blackwing
guy? He has no right being at this pen party. And then Shelby Foote, a historian and novelist, Shelby Foote was steadfast in his writing method, using a dip pen exclusively to compose his epic Civil War series, demonstrating a loyalty to traditional penmanship. You know what's sad? Penmanship is like going out. Like, they're not teaching kids how to write in cursive anymore.
I know. Can your kiddos that you nanny write in cursive? I'm trying to think of like
so.
what. I'm trying to think if Aaron's brother can. He's 21.
Yeah,
like,
I don't.
like a Gen Z. That's where it stopped.
I don't think so. And I also don't think they can read it anymore because they can't write it. They don't know what the letters look like.
Oh
So
my God.
how are they
Oh
gonna
my
read it?
God.
How are people gonna like decipher ancient texts anymore? They're not.
I
'Cause
don't know.
they can't read it anymore.
Have you
Oh
ever seen
man.
cursive Russian?
No, I bet it's
Oh my
wild.
God. Look it up.
Oh,
It looks exactly the same. Everything looks
wow.
exactly the same to
All
me
right.
as an English reader. That's what
Right.
it's
I'm gonna
not.
have to look that up.
Yeah.
And then lastly on this list, we have Henry Stevens, inventor of the indelible blue-black ink. Dr. Henry Stevens, a 19th century English surgeon and chemist, invented and patented a blue-black indelible writing fluid. His formula was notable for its clarity at first application and permanence after drying. Stevens ink became a global brand, and his blue-black ink still sees official use in British registries today. So Emily Dickinson primarily used black ink in her poems and letters, while she experimented with other colors like pink in a poem titled Posy Pink. Her most consistent writing medium was a standard black ink, often used with a fountain pen, and some websites also note her use of a pink ink called Posy Pink by Organics Studio, which is inspired by her. And
Hmm.
this ink is a vibrant pink with a light purplish hue, according to Pen Chalet. And then Edgar Allan Poe and William Shakespeare, and earlier we even mentioned Leonardo da Vinci, all primarily use iron gall ink because that was just the standard for their time. And then Lewis Carroll primarily used sepia ink also for his writing and illustrations, particularly in his original manuscript of Alice's Adventures Underground. He also used purple ink in his writings starting around 1870.
I love writing in a purple and
I just love ink. Did you ever do like the stippling
yeah.
in art class? It takes fucking forever, but it looks so cool.
It does look cool.
I love me some pen and ink. So yeah, that's it for that. And now where can we get these bottled inks from? There is a shop online called pandorawitch.shop, and they have a selection of really cool inks if you want to open that link and check these out with me, Christina. They have, let's look at their catalog. Right now it looks like they're having a Halloween sale, 20% off their Halloween collection. I don't know if the inks are included in that. Looking at their catalog here, they call their line Antiquus Mixturis, like mixture. So they have a moon ink, a protection ink, a money magic ink, a dark art ink, love spell ink, dragon's blood ink, universal magic ink, success spell ink, divination ink, and healing spell ink. And all of these go for about $10 a bottle, and it's about 10 milliliters. So ingredients include good quality ink, herbal powders, and oils. Depending on what your magical working is, you can purchase, different inks for different purposes. So
Very cool. These are
yeah,
beautiful. Very
very,
neat.
right? I wonder if they also sell these cool pens like in these
Yeah.
pictures with these inks.
Yeah. Does it say what's in it?
Let's see.
Ooh,
It's kind of vague. They all
is
just
vague.
say good quality ink and herbal powders and oils. It doesn't say exactly what's in each one.
Right, right.
Yeah.
I want to, well, yeah, you can't give all of your secrets.
I know. But I mean, they could also just be the same ink in every bottle.
That's true.
And then they could just be like, it's your intention that makes it what it is,
Magic.
Magic,
Yeah,
exactly.
totally.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So there's that one, and we'll link that in our show notes if you guys want to check out this shop. It's really cool. And then there was another one that I was looking at. It's alchemy-works.com, and this one's got a bunch of different ones. They have the bat's blood ink, they have black nightshade ink, they have a butterfly's blood saffron ink, a dove's blood ink, a dragon's blood ink. And yeah, this one actually says what each one is made. This one's $16 for a little more, 15 milliliter.
I did see this site. Yes.
Yeah, this one's pretty cool.
That butterfly's blood with the saffron, it's got real saffron in it. So it's a
Oh,
little more, it's $1 more than the other ones. Most of them are
okay.
$16. That one's $17.
A little more expensive, yeah. Yeah, and I think that was the only other one besides the black nightshade ink that we didn't talk about today, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the black nightshade one on this site, it's made from witch-grown black nightshade berries in the traditional manner. This ink is good for any Saturnian work, such as communicating with the dead, cursing and binding. It starts out violet and turns light blue when it dries. It's a natural vegetable ink, so it will fade over time if exposed to sunlight and will probably turn gray eventually. You can take advantage of this color shift in your magic, inviting a particular event to occur or condition to decrease as the color changes. That's what we were talking about earlier, right? This is a handmade ink like the others, but unlike them, is based on vinegar instead of alcohol in order to extract the dye of the berries. No added scent, smells like vinegar, which is perfect for darker work.
Very cool. That's really neat.
Yeah,
I want to make them a pokeberry ink this year. Using...
do you get them down by you, the pokeberry bushes?
Oh yeah, I was gonna Marco you today because we went back out to the woods, and that one it's like dropping its little berries now, so I have to skirt by it.
Yeah, that stains so bad. You like get anything on you. Hey, yeah,
But
I should make another batch. I see we have a bush coming up again. They pop up everywhere around this time.
But I think that's where we'll leave it today. Hidden messages, magical contracts, lemon juice sigils, and all. And if y'all would like to help support the podcast, here's how.
You can support us for as little as $1 a month. That's our seedling tier, and that gets you access to our patron-only polls where you get to weigh in on what topics you would like us to talk about next. It also gets you our monthly calendar so you can see what topics we have coming up for the month, and it also gets you a welcome shout out on the show. Our $3 lavender bud tier gets you our show notes for each episode in an aesthetically pleasing PDF, our after hours posts if there's any extra tidbits or behind the scenes info pertaining to any of our episodes. We'll post those along with a blog post or extra photos, and access to our specially curated Spotify playlists. We have created playlists for our WMSR episodes as well as Production Dream playlists for each song episode, and more. Our $5 Lilac tier gets you access to our private Facebook community where we host a monthly live stream. Plus, you'll get access to our Discord server where we host our monthly watch parties. And also on the Discord, you can join in on the discussion with other Magnolia Street neighbors via the various interesting channels and threads. And then here's the $8 Rose tier. This gets you access to extra audio visual content such as a once a month full-length video episode, unlimited bonus videos, uncut footage, cutting room floor footage, bloopers, outtakes, meditations, exclusive interviews, and old home videos from the vault, or spell or ritual videos, and more. It also gets you bonus content to coincide with our song-episodes, such as full-length demo streams of our original Practical Magic inspired music, plus lyric sheets, guitar chords, and original scratch demos, or bonus video performances of our songs and more. Lastly, we have our $15 Wisteria Vine tier. Just like a twisting Wisteria Vine, there's a way for you to stay connected with us, the Stinas. In this tier, we invite you to join our private Marco Polo video messaging app. The app is totally free for both Android and iOS. Sign up with your phone number or email, and we will help you do the rest. This is a great way to chat with each other in a more intimate group setting, face-to-face via video recording. We love to show each other our pets, our gardens, or anything else you'd like to share. And just a reminder that the higher the tier you sign up under, the more rewards you get, because you get all of the rewards of the tiers below it. You can upgrade or downgrade or even cancel at any time. So to support the podcast, head to patreon.com/Magnolia Street Podcast.
Yeah, and there are additional ways to support us and our podcast that don't cost you any money. If you do listen on Spotify, please give us a star rating. If you listen to us on Apple Podcasts, please give us a written review. We love sharing those on our Instagram. And if you're on Instagram, we would really appreciate any reposts or blurbs about our podcast. And make sure to tag us at Magnolia Street Podcast in your feed, posts, stories, and share us with your Practical Magic loving friends.
Also, don't forget that our new album, Welcome to the Neighborhood, the Magnolia Street Sessions Volume 1, is out now, available for streaming on all platforms. And if you'd like to support us directly, you can purchase the digital album from the Stinas of Magnolia Street.bandcamp.com. And we do hope to do a physical release in the near future, so keep a lookout for that.
Yeah. So whether you're a seasoned practitioner or just ink curious, we hope this episode inspired you to explore the hidden layers of your own craft. Maybe even draft a few secrets of your own. Just keep a candle or UV light handy.
And as always, thank you for joining us in the shadows in between the lines. If you enjoyed today's dive into the unseen, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, share us with the magically inclined or your fellow practical magic loving friends.
That's right. That's
Until
right.
next time, I'm Justina.
I'm Christina.
And we'll see you next time.
At the house on Magnolia Street, would you